They say those that cannot do teach. What does that say about those that talk? We're about to find out. 6 years to the day when drivers first went at it in the iRacing bragging rights. The competition returns to the commentary booth. It's time for bragging rights to electric Comentaroo. Hello everyone and welcome to RaceSpotTV, where we are delighted for what is bound to be an action-packed couple of hours as we crown the best broadcaster in 2022. My name is Arjuna Kankipati alongside my partner in crime, Joshua Lee. And some may question, Josh, this commentary booth saying, oh, it's a RaceSpot commentary booth. But let's be real, you've worked with us at RaceSpot a lot, but you've represented half of these other broadcasters as well. It's great for this competition to return, though. And I know there's a lot of excitement for drivers as they roll out for the first of 3 races starting in just a few minutes' time.
And not to make everybody feel old, but September 10th, 2016, I was 13 years old when the first version of this race happened. So I remember watching this. I remember being, oh, all the voices I'm used to watching in esports, they're all competing on one track. And it's the same thing tonight. I mean, everybody's coming together in the iRacing broadcasting world to go racing 3 distinctly different combos, 3 distinctly different vehicles and tracks tonight. This is going to be very, very interesting because we know that there's a good bit of drivers that go into the commentary booth, and there's a good bit of commentators that want to go onto the driving side. So let's see how they all do.
Yeah, I ventured from the track to the broadcast booth after doing my first full season of SEO. Ended up live on broadcast for the last season talking about SEO. It's curious how things work, and last time out, 6 years ago, it was Jake Burden and V8 Online that took the victory. SimSpeed now carrying the torch forward will be your favorites as we look at these formats with 3 races. Of course, the street stocks under the night lights. It's a mini pack race, but it's a pack race where the car is always looking to slide around on you. Surviving 30 laps is going to be crucial, especially with caution flags disabled. Then over to the Pro 2 Light and the big house at Crandon. Josh and I are just coming off the iRacing Off-Road Championship Series. We know how much fun that's going to be. 400 horsepower and rear wheel drive. Josh Edmondson bound to be the favorite there, of course, coming off a fantastic season in that World Championship. Then though, to the newest content available for all iRacing members, the track Rudskogen. We take the iRacing Formula 4 car out for 24 laps to crown our champion, each of the races with 5 minutes of solo qualifying. Josh, we talked about this format just before we went on air, and we were discussing the fact that they're very different type of races, and you're going to hope for each of the races for different members of your team to shine to build points in the championship.
Yeah, and all these teams have tried to put their best commentators and producers together into one team. And with the top 3 drivers earning from each team as well, some teams have less than 3. They're going to have to pull a little bit more weight. Some teams have upwards of, I believe, RaceSpot might be 7 or 8 drivers deep at this point. So only see the top 3 earning those points. You need to maximize who you've got and where.
Yeah, so let's talk about the points. 40 to the winner, all the way down to 1 for a hypothetical 40th position. However, a field around 30 strong for today's bragging rights. At least revival. Hopefully this becomes an annual affair and we'll do it more frequently with larger numbers in the months and years to come. In each race, 3 drivers from each team will score points in the team standings. Now, we are going to crown our overall champions. We're also going to crown a fastest driver, and I'm looking forward to that. We've got the likes of Bo Albert, who's, of course, competed in the World Championship before, but Cam Dance is someone very quick on road courses. Danny Amon, someone maybe we can look forward to be adaptable across of all 3 disciplines, and don't discount RaceSpot's Tyler Maxson, a real-world TCR driver, but qualifying will begin. We'll throw 5 minutes on the board and drivers will get the track to themselves in these street stocks, and the expectation is always going to be you sacrifice the first couple of laps to build momentum, Josh, and then you go all out for those final couple of opportunities, because here with 5 minutes on the clock you will get 4 flying laps.
And honestly, Arjuna, the street stocks at Charlotte is like a mini super speedway. This is where everybody starts out on the oval ladder of iRacing. You start running these street stocks at Charlotte and USA, and Charlotte was always my favorite to run when I was down in those rookie licenses for, admittedly, a little bit longer than I think I wanted to be in those rookie licenses. I've since learned, but at the time, I really only wanted to race these because I knew what to do when it came to super speedway racing. I knew how to work those lines, and ultimately, it's hold that throttle all the way to the floor and and turn left a couple of times all the way around each 4 corners, which is the reason we saw all the drivers in practice separated by only about 0.6 of a second as Lorenzo Bonder goes to the top of the board. Hey-o, Lorenzo!
Yeah, but it's the duo from the Apex Racing team, the quartet from the Apex Racing team that stormed their way into the top 6. Ryan Jones from SimSpeed jumps into the top 5 as well. On the timing tower, you'll be able to follow the drivers and the teams they're representing. You won't worry too much about car numbers, and we've given IROC style paints to all the fields, so we'll track them as well. Lewis Ward currently on top in the orange and black for the Apex Racing team. We know Ward from the road courses. He is a rookie on the ovals though when it comes to the license, but clearly no rookie when it comes to speed.
And right now, Racecraft's Josh Edmondson sits 4th, and then a trio of SimSpeed drivers and Ryan Jones, Bo Albert, and Daniel Yeaman rounding out the top 7. Couple of Apex Racing drivers, and then Edward Shera Jr., who was one of the fastest drivers in practice. P10 currently on the board, but I'm a little bit disappointed in the current iRacing broadcasters right now of Evan Basoko, Taylor Burris, and the like. All of them outside the top 10. Come on, guys, what are we doing?
Especially since for the likes of Evan and Taylor, this is their wheelhouse. They've also got one of the iRacing staff members. He's down in 18th spot for the time being, but with the top 10 split by under half a 1/10 of a second, we know what type of a race we're in for. Maybe not shocked to see Cam Dance hanging back and putting in a lap time that indicates to me he bailed out of that one half a second off the pace. He's expecting trouble and maybe just looking to pick his way through the carnage. It will be Dan Yeaman that will be one of the final cars, though, that comes to the line. Can he improve?
He is not going to improve, just be a couple of about a 1/10 off of his first time, and we're still seeing those very, very close times. It looks like a super speedway if we're taking the Cup cars to the Daytona or Talladega, and Cam Dance up to P15 with that lap there in the number 6. Not bad for Cam.
Yeah, maybe not hanging back as much as I thought he would. I can confirm that all drivers have finished their qualifying attempts, apart from Zach Johnson, who has worked again like Josh alongside me for many of the broadcasters, but representing FTF.GG 37.05, so he won't improve. That will start him 16th, the best of the FTF machines. After this qualifying session draws to a close, we'll get a few minutes of warm-up where drivers will get to relax, de-stress, because we're talking about this like a super speedway style race, but it's going to be one of those races where you and I think there's going to be a couple of packs that separate out the field.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see that happen, and I think these drivers aren't going to be safe from those wrecks. I don't disagree with the strategy of kind of going to the back and kind of waiting for things to happen, because that is possibly what could happen. With the packs separating across themselves, we could see a lot of wrecks. This track, even with these street stocks, which admittedly are pretty thin, you still don't really want to chance 3 wide, especially not 4 wide, and if that happens, then these drivers are going to end up getting into a little bit of trouble with that incident.
Well, we are ready then to go racing for the first of 3 battles in the bragging rights to Electric Comentaroo. 6 years to the day after we first crowned our fastest commentator. We'll do it again. We'll crown a fastest broadcaster as well. And it's a great start for the Apex Racing team as Lewis Ward and Sam Fitzpatrick will put it on the front row with a 36.751, netting Lewis Ward the opportunity to run us to the green flag. Lorenzo Bonder, the Brazilian, lines up inside of Josh Edmondson for Racecraft TV. Ryan Jones and Bo Albert making an Australian duo to round out the top 6. Behind them, Dan Yeaman, a late replacement, joining today, will be alongside Austin Knight, who competed in RaceSpotTV Race Up the Mountain just yesterday. Dane Baird racing from Simply Race inside of PitStop.TV's Ed Shearer Jr. Evan Basoko, the voice of eNASCAR, back in 11th. Tyler Maxson to his right-hand side. It'll be Taylor Burris and Joe Peak 13th and 14th, the first of the GSRC machines, with Cam Dance and Zach Johnson row A. DJ Clark lines up inside of Mark Tranter racing from the Apex Racing Team facility, with Emerson Arden and Corey Vunacek bookending the top 20. Joey Tebben and Stefan Schlacker 21st and 22nd, with Tim Cox and Jack Stiles row 12. Lindsay, Kennedy, Fisher and Bosher Williams round out the field of 28 that will get us underway as we are excited for the race that is about to unfold. Expectations then, Josh Lee, as the cars roll and we begin our bragging rights to action.
I'm interested to see when the alliances are going to come in. Are we going to see broadcasters align with each other? Are we going to see some other broadcasters align with other broadcasters? Are we going to see how many incidents are we going to see, of course, on the track? 30 laps. That is not a ton of time at this track. And look at all those beautiful commentating faces getting ready to race here.
We have more commentator cameras than we can show you. It's a testament to how wonderful and how much these drivers have been taking to this event. I'm going to put you on the spot right now, though, Josh. Who wins this first race of the night?
If I'm very biased, I'm going Josh Edmondson at RaceSpotTV. But if I'm going a little bit less biased, I think that oval know-how is going to come in a little better. I'm expecting Evan to be really strong here, but he starts P11, so he needs to step it up next qualifying session.
So here we go. The orange and black of the Apex Racing team will get us underway for bragging rights to Electric Comentaroo. It's time to crown the fastest commentator. It's Lewis Ward that gets us underway, but as they build the momentum, as the tension starts to rise as well, Lorenzo Bonder already coming under pressure on the inside line, but the inside forming up nicely on the start, the outside struggling to build itself up.
You can see already on the inside, Lorenzo Bonder trying to push his way to the front, but Lewis Ward from the pole, great start for him. He's got Sam Fitzpatrick now on the outside, two Apex Racing TV teammates, getting a little bit of help from Josh Edmondson behind, and then it's a duo of Sim Speeds and almost three wide, and an Apex Racing TV machine almost just pushed a Sim Speed car into the wall.
So they fight at the line, 2 wide, 2 rows deep, with SimSpeed then running 5th and 6th, maybe comfortable where they are for the time being. The rear end looking to step around as Edmondson slides up the track. They're wrecking behind, then Basoko getting involved. It's a big one, and with cautions disabled, surviving the wreck will be crucial. The 2-car slams up into the road. What a huge one that one is.
Tyler Maxson up and over onto his lid there in the 74 for a few moments. That is a quintessential big one. Everybody gets back going safe, so they're able to continue on. No limit on fast repairs either, Arjuna, so they'll be hitting the pit lane trying to get that damage repaired as the lead gap heads to turn 1 and 2.
Still fighting at the front. We'll get a look at the huge run, but let's be real, at this point, this is all we can really focus on, those that have survived. We will track live points, of course, as we work through the course of the racing action. As it runs right now, you can see the Apex Racing TV team run at the front, still 1 and 2, of course. SimSpeed in 2nd, RaceSpot 3rd, but it's close behind them. Racecraft and iRacing split by just 1 point. And in the driver's standings, well, it's as they run at the front.
Great defense right now from the Apex Racing TV duo of Ward and Fitzpatrick. How about those 2 SimSpeed drivers still in this one? That's Ryan Jones and Daniel Gaiman. And then a 3rd Apex Racing TV car kind of disassociated from the top 2 right now. That's Dane Baird, who admittedly I thought he'd do better in Rallycross, but he's doing pretty good here in the ovals as we look at the replay of the big one. Yeah,
we missed the initial bit of contact, but we'll catch the aftermath, and you can see it's maybe at best 10 cars that get on through without any damage. 1 car dragging the pit exit cone along with them as they work down the back straightaway. Let's pick up, if we can, one more look at the actual incident as they continue to squabble at the front of the field. See a couple of cars going sideways, and then it's the iRacing machine that slides up the track. I believe it might have been Taylor Burris.
I was going to say, if that's Evan Pasoko, I'm sending him a text right now blaming him for that big one incident. You know, in RSR, which of course, if you guys don't know, is Evan Pasoko's league that we broadcast here on RaceSpotTV Monday nights. You have to claim for a caution. I think I'm going to text him, just claim question mark, and see if he's going to claim for that incident. Hang on, I'll update you in about 5 minutes.
We'll see if texting and driving is going to be the name of the game for the voice of eNASCAR. So they're fighting at the front, of course, but there's a second battle pack that's still fighting side by side with a car coming down low. Ed Sherrod Jr. fighting with Sebastian Boucher-Williams, who has gained 19 spots. I did mention that maybe starting at the back would not be the worst thing in the world. Sometimes commentators know what we're talking about, but let's be real, that is not always the case. So for Ward and Fitzpatrick then, Josh, how do you control the rest of this race? Because as it runs right now, it doesn't seem like anyone's building up enough momentum to storm on past.
honestly, I just do whatever they're doing right now, which is control both lines, and both lines are only 1 or 2 cars strong. You see Lorenzo Bonder on the inside in the race spot yellow, and then you see Josh Edmondson in the racecraft red on the outside, and then here comes Dane Baird. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna work with Edmondson? Is he going to try and get up and control 3 lines possibly with his Apex Racing TV teammates? And then what can the SimSpeed guys do back from there? As, oh my goodness, look at these 3 men trying to control the front of this pack.
So you got Dan Yeaman, Lorenzo Bonder, and then Sam Fitzpatrick from the Apex Racing team facility as well. That's going to be useful for him. You get the guidance from the teammates. He's, of course, on the outside. Bonder to his inside, trying to fight Yeaman, then stacked up behind Bonder as well. Coming to the 1/3 marker of this race, of course. Not expecting a pit stop, but never say never. We still have all cars basically on track because of the faster pairs. It's a nice little dynamic that will create drama when it comes to the lap traffic that will surely become a factor.
Yeah, and that lap traffic is coming back onto the racetrack. Bo Albert is on the outside of an Apex Racing TV car that currently he scored 13th, and they were able to work his way by Evan Basoka, also going to go 1 lap down. It looks like next to go a lap down will be Ian Fisher, which they've got a little bit to go still. Everybody else left on the lead lap is within about 7 seconds of each other as this lead group continues to fight, and they're going to have some damaged machines that are coming back onto the racetrack. Emerson Arden's coming back on in his Pits.TV entry. I believe Mark Tranter just came back onto the racetrack, and Jay Kennedy as well.
Dane Baird was complaining a lot about the equipment that he was going to be racing with today. Not racing from the team facility as he had hoped, instead racing from Simply Race, where he is working and trying to slack off enough to compete in today's racing. To be fair, if there's ever going to be a race where lack of equipment is going to not be a factor, this is probably the one. When we go to Crandon, I still think you can get away without a load cell pedal. Once we go, though, to the high downforce combo with a very technical road course, I think that final race is where Dane Baird is truly going to struggle.
Well, he's not the only one running on some janky equipment. I know Ian Fisher is running from a hotel on hotel Wi-Fi.
Oh, and he shared a picture of it as well. It is janky.
Yes, so he's not the only one. He's not alone in the group of drivers that don't have the best equipment. But honestly, we're commentators, especially for the producers here. Shout out Jay Kennedy. Shout out all the other producers. Mark Tranter being one for Apex Racing TV. Zach Johnson. We spend our money on producing equipment, not on racing equipment.
Hey,
oh, we have 3 wide for second.
Where's the love for the producer here in the broadcast booth, as they are 3 wide with Edmondson down the middle, and that's crucial because now Fitzpatrick is going to be bulldozed, and he'll lose out at least 2 spots, maybe even drop to the tail end of this pack. It's a good move from Edmondson, who rises to 3rd.
Arjuna, why aren't you producing and racing at the same time is the real question.
I don't have enough hands. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
We need to get one of those Spider-Man 2, you know the... Yeah, exactly. You see where I'm going with this one.
Yeah, that would work. That would work pretty well, but unfortunately not possible in the year of our Lord 2022. But on board with Lewis Ward, he's got help from Bonder behind, but look at Edmondson, 3rd lane, making it work in the middle. No help, though, as Dane Baird admittedly choosing to help his Apex Racing TV teammate in Sam Fitzpatrick, but Edmondson almost clear to the front straightaway, just barely by inches. Fitzpatrick holding strong on the outside as the SimSpeed 85 tries to get in the mix.
Oh, what a shot that was as they came across the line. Barney the flagman has got the perfect view of all of this. We mentioned Lewis Ward, more of a road course racer. We've seen him win here on RaceSpotTV in all sorts of road course vehicles. Edmondson bullies Fitzpatrick, but Fitzpatrick has none of it, fights back as they work 3 wide. Now for the race lead. Edmondson with the momentum, trying to sweep his way past Lewis Ward as well, who roars back down low.
He's got no help, but admittedly with these street stocks, you don't need a ton of help to make things work. But the 97 is going to power back to the race lead. The 58 of Edmondson stuck middle, 3 wide still. He had a little bit of help from Baird there for a moment, but the 24 is going to go try and help the 71 up on the very outside line. Edmondson going to squeeze the 97 award to the bottom in 2.
Oh, it's fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. And again, we have all 28 cars still left on track. So Edmondson, who is now bottled up high, will be thinking about positioning his car correctly as we work to the traffic. Dane Baird tucks back now for the time being as he sees it settled down, and his Apex Racing TV duo at the front of the field are able to regain control of the field. 1 more lap will reach the halfway marker of this race, and it really could go in any direction with lap traffic bound to play a factor.
On the 85 on the inside there, that's Daniel Gaiman with a big move there in turn 1. He's able to save it, and still now back to basically where we started this beginning of this run, Arjuna, with the 2 lines, both led by Apex Racing TV guys, and then Bonder and Edmondson being the help, as Edmondson gives a big shove to the 71 of Fitzpatrick. Not enough to clear him in turn 3, as I hear over the iRacing voice chat Joe Peak say, "Goodbye, loser." What just happened there?
The tempers, I'm sure, are flaring here. I'm not sure exactly what that one was about. Maybe it's a... Oh! They're racking for the lead! Dan Yeaman will scamper on through. Ryan Jones as well. SimSpeed take the advantage, but a huge wreck as they were fighting 2 and 3 wide for the lead in Charlotte.
Oh my goodness. What happened there? I think Edmondson might have tried to go to the middle 3 wide, saw a door open, and as quickly as it opened, it closed. And that led to a ton of contact at the front. Here's the replays. They go through the tri-oval. I mean, if he didn't go for that space, I mean, he might not have gotten the run for the race lead, so I don't blame him. I'm also saying this is a biased Racecraft TV admin.
Yes. No, this is the problem. You are too close with Edmondson to be non-judgmental, and to be fair, I like Josh a lot too much to be non-judgmental as well. But it is now SimSpeed that will take the advantage. What a momentum shift it is. 7 points. They'll take the lead in the points as we run right now. There's still a long way to go, though, as Boscher, Williams, and Tebben fight for 3rd and 4th, and Boscher Williams from the very back of the field is in with a chance of winning this race.
There's about 2 tenths separating now the duo of SimSpeed cars at the front. Then you got the 27 of Sebastian Boscher Williams. Then Joseph Tebben running under the FTF.GG entry. And then Taylor Burris in the iRacing machine. Where did he come from? He's a couple seconds off the pace, but he's in the top 5.
There's Boscher Williams clearly trying to move in somewhere with those boxes behind him. But incredible. 25 positions gained. There's the confirmation. Fisher's plus 21 as well, and Edmondson still runs in 7th. Even though Racecraft TV only have 2 entries today, it is not the worst situation for them as we run right now. Oh, we expected a big one. I don't think we expected one as big as that one.
That was pretty huge, and we had one huge one at the start. We had another big wreck with race leaders, admittedly, as well. Edmondson hits the pit lane as we see the battle for 12th. These are all drivers that are 1 lap down, and all drivers that were involved in that 2nd lap incident. Knight, Maxon, Peak, and Styles a little bit removed from this 3-car battle, but they all battle the turn number 1. Apex GSRC versus RaceSpot, and there they all are.
I love it. Calm focus from Joe. I'm surprised that he's wearing in-ears to go racing. It seems as though that's the case. Maybe even got speakers. Austin Knight with the McLaren jersey cheering on Pato Award this weekend in the Grand Prix at Laguna Seca for the final round of IndyCar action. And Tyler Maxon, I must say, he's clearly dressed up for today, because we know Tyler, he never looks like that unless he's on camera.
Oh, very, very true. He dressed up with he got the polo on, the Under Armour polo as well. Breathable,
Branded.
nice and breathable.
Yes.
He should be wearing a RaceSpot jersey, though. These are equally as breathable.
No, exactly. And I gotta say, that is minus points. Edmondson, I think, is done for the day. He has dropped down to 22nd. Still 2.6 splitting 1st from 3rd. So Boscher Williams, Tebben not closing. Boris, of course, sits 5th with Fisher, and then Sherrod Jr. 7 cars on the lead lap, but plenty of fighting up and down through the field still, with 10 to go for most of the cars. Peak down low, almost down below the apron as he tries to roll to the inside of Knight. There's a bit of a stalemate forming as they continue to fight for 11th.
Oh, and Maxon tried to look all the way to the outside, but look at the defense coming from Austin Knight in the Apex Racing TV machine. Maxon to the inside, going to give a little bit of a shove to Joe Peak. As you can see, that gaggle of cars up in front, 2 Apex cars, an FTF, and a Pit Stop TV entry. I'm not sure where that group currently is, but they're racing on the racetrack as well, a couple laps down.
It's all mixed up with drivers from all sorts of laps down and whatnot. It's Sam Fitzpatrick that is in that gaggle with his car in 10th position. I think Dane Barrett as well, potentially, but they are all just filtered around the track. You can track the intervals now on the left-hand side of your screen. Best of the SimSpeed cars leads. Best of the Apex Racing TV cars 3rd. FTF 4th. iRacing 5th. Racecraft 6th. Pit Stop TV in 7th. GSRC then in 11th. with RaceSpot right behind them in 12. And there goes the charge from Lorenzo Bonder, trying to bully his way past Austin Knight. Bonder a lap down, yes, but trying to work with his teammate Tyler Maxson to hold on to track position.
He's going to try and give a little bit of a help to his RaceSpotTV teammate in Tyler Maxson. But as this happens, Arjuna, they dive into 1. Off of 4 is the SimSpeed duo of Yeaman and Jones, who are going to grab 7 laps to go, this time by the stripe. SimSpeed looking for a 1-2 in the first race of the night, which honestly, they are racing as I believe the defending champions,
yes,
technically, because V8 Online turned into SimSpeed.
Yes, no, they are the lineal champions, and that's why we gave them the disadvantage of having to race at 2 in the morning for some, 4 in the morning for Cam Dance. We clearly haven't done enough, though, to disadvantage them, as I tell you, it was smart from Yeaman to hang on back, and then Ryan Jones, who was in a similar situation, they both were able to get through what was a increasingly likely wreck as they fought harder and harder at the front of the field. They were just getting too confident. It was bound to happen. We check back in. Joe Peak has been dragged back now by Maxson working together with Bonder. Bonder still trying to slow up Austin Knight, as that's pretty aggressive.
Whoa!
Maxson gets into the back of Joe Peak. I think that's fair to say that was a bit of a bump and run.
He made it work, though. He didn't wreck him. He did bump him out of the way and then run away. And Bonder's going to give a big shove now to Maxson as Knight looks to the inside of Peak. But you can see the stone-cold focus on the face of Joe Peak as he tries to get those spots back.
We'll see him now fight with Austin Knight as a pit stop TV car dives below the white line as they fight in front of them. Of course, just everything mixed up with 5 laps to go for your race leader. What a dramatic way to open up this bragging rights to electric Comentaroo. 6 years on from the inaugural one. Oh, we got to do this more often. We have to do this more frequently. So the top 2 continue to stretch the gap. It is looking like SimSpeed will leave Charlotte, head to Wisconsin to the big house with a lead in the team championship.
Oh, those Pro 2 lights at Crandon are going to be so entertaining. Land rush start as well. Oh, goodness.
We had so much fun with the Off-Road Championship Series as Tebben and Boscher Williams still fight side by side. Now, for the final step of the podium, it's grown in advantage to the whoa as Tebben almost turns. Boscher Williams coming onto the right rear quarter panel. Bit of a close moment there, but I don't think that was intentional. It has stretched out, though. The top 2 in the team standings running away with iRacing sitting in 3rd.
Only going to be 3 laps to go, this time by the stripe for Yeaman and Jones as they lead. This is the battle for 3rd in the edge of the podium. Joseph Tebben looking to try and get a 3rd place for FTF.GG as they begin the night. And unfortunately, Zach Johnson, his FTF.GG teammate, sitting back in 27th right now. So a lot of points are resting on Tebben's ability to get the podium. And Austin Knight's off the track.
And into the pit, and a hard old lick into the wall. A hellacious beating will be forthcoming to the 210.
Fitzpatrick are wrecking in turn 1.
And I think Lorenzo Bonder was counterpart to this as well. All sorts of shenanigans to close this one off. Tebben and Boscher Williams will fight as they come to 2 to go. We'll grab a replay, of course, of what happened. But at the front, Jones and Yeaman fight for honors at the front of the field.
Side by side with the 2 SimSpeed drivers. They are looking for an almost perfect race here, being 2 of their drivers in the front. And then Bo Albert, championship competitor, in 8th place right now. Great points for them as that was a big stack up there going through the tri-oval. Here's what happened, and Peak gets into Bonder. Bonder gets into Fitzpatrick, and Peak gets turned again.
And it is white flag in hand for Barney the Flagman. Yeaman now with a 1/4 of a second lead as they run around Charlotte for the final time under the bright night lights. Looks like maybe Lewis Ward riding the wall. Video game strategy, trying to hold on. A drag race, of course, for 1st. A drag race for 3rd as well. Plenty of action around the facility here. We check in with the fight for 3rd as Boscher Williams has a nose in front as Ryan Jones builds the momentum as they ramp off of turn 4 for the very final time to claim victory in race 1 of 3. It will be Dan Yeaman, a nose in front of his SimSpeed teammate. Joey Tebben will lose out to Boscher Williams at the line as well.
Ooh.
What an electric way to finish this race.
No, he did not, did he? He did by literally about 100th of a second, Tevin loses out on it. I thought he got third, but then as the scoring updated, it pushed him back to fourth.
I went with my eye. I'm glad my gut was correct. That is a car doing the crab walk behind them. That is for sure. Joe Peak.
Is that Joe Peak?
It is.
He's been like that since the incident he had a couple of laps ago, and he made it all the way back to the checkered flag.
Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Oh, delightful. Expected chaos, did not realize how much we were in for. What a day for SimSpeed, or what a race rather for SimSpeed to open up the night on top under the bright night lights of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's a bit funny, you don't associate Australians with ovals, but they're fast no matter where they go.
Yeah, the SimSpeed drivers really representing, but then take a look at the edge of the top five. Apex, FTF, iRacing, Racecraft, Pit Stop, then you find the next SimSpeed entry. A lot of great broadcasters up there at the front, and unfortunately a bit of trouble for the home broadcasters of RaceSpot there, with Styles and Schlockshire being in the top 16.
Yeah, we won't talk about the struggles for RaceSpot. It will just happen in our post-race debrief. That's what we were promised when we put on this event. Let's take a look at the race results. Celebrating in the Charlotte Motor Speedway victory lane is the duo of SimSpeed with Danny Amon and Ryan Jones, like Moses, working their way through the smoke to the lead and never looking back. For Boscher Williams, my word, 25 positions gained as he worked his way forward from the very back of the field, getting top honors for the Apex Racing team, standing on the podium. Heartbreaking for Joey Tebben, just missing out though, a drag race all the way to the line. Taylor Burris able to survive to get his car for iRacing.com into the top 5. Ian Fisher for Racecraft TV able to work up 21 spots with Ed Shearer Jr. inside of the top 10, along with Bo Albert, Evan Pasoko, and the best of the RaceSpot cars, Jack Stiles, bookends the top 10. Behind them, we'll see Cam Dance in 11th, Joe Peak crab walking his way 2 laps down to 12th, with Stefan Schlacker, Dane Baird, Sam Fitzpatrick through the top 15, Kennedy Ward, Clark Maxon, Bonder, the top 20. Field of 28 then sees Cox, Lenzi, Arden, Knight, Tranter, Vinacek, Johnson, and Edmondson. The field, as we'll now take a look at the points as they run before we head in to the next of our races. Remember, only the top 3 drivers score points. 112 see SimSpeed rise to the top. Of course, lineal defending champions. It's close though between the likes of iRacing and everyone chasing behind them, Josh.
Yeah, and right now those points really are up in the air because we still have 2 races left. Pro 2 Lights at Crandon, then we go in the IRO4s at Rudskogen. But, I mean, Apex Racing TV having all those drivers, remember, only top 3 in their team earn points off of that one. So SimSpeed only earning points off of Jones, Yemen, and I believe Bo Albert. That was the 3rd to finish there, and they all finished in the top 10, so 112 going to that team.
And here's a look then at the drivers' points, of course, as they finish the race, but with small gaps between the entire field. Consistency, as I always say, wins championships. I don't think it is ever going to be as significant though as it is in a format like this, where of course, Josh, next up we switch from the bright night lights to the big house. What a fun, delightful technical challenge Crandon is, where drivers have got to set their cars up before they launch into the air. What are you expecting here other than land rush chaos and everyone trying to take out Josh Edmondson?
Well, honestly, a lot of drivers that don't exactly know what they're doing, and I say that with all kindness. Yes. I say that with all kindness. This is a unique type of challenge, which admittedly is a very new challenge to the iRacing service. Crandon was only added in 2020. Pro 2 Lights were added relatively around the same time, so this hasn't been around the service for that long. I mean, of course, Edmondson competing in the World Championship. I know Dane Baird has called on Pro trucks before. I know Ian Fisher has. Ian Fisher has raced these things before. Evan Pasoko has called at Crandon
on national TV.
On CBS Sports Network. If he's not close to the front, I don't know what to say anymore.
Yes, no, we have high expectations for Evan Pasoko. He maybe has less high expectations for himself, but
definitely
let the burden of the broadcast booth be no weight on the shoulders of the voice of eNASCAR. So the time now is just about 1:30. We'll get underway with qualifying in a few minutes' time. Of course, drivers given the opportunity to join the new session. Likewise, broadcasters allowed the opportunity to join the new session because I did not realize what I was signing up for in January when Lorenzo Bonder and myself talked about bragging rights. I am the conductor of the show, operating as race admin, ensuring we are running on schedule. I'm the broadcast producer because I love broadcast producing. It's a lot of fun. And then I get to sit alongside Josh Lee. Let's be honest, the best of those hats is that final one, Josh, because I think back to the challenges and the fun that we saw at Crandon earlier this summer. Talk us through this track and the passing opportunities and the unique nature of starting a race here and having to finish half a lap before you start lap number 1.
Well, the passing opportunities in the Pro 4s is pretty much all those highlighted turns. 7, 8, you can make passes in 5, 3, and 4. But with these Pro 2 lights, that's a little bit different. Obviously, these things have less power, but they also are only 2-wheel drive. To drive to the back wheels only, no drive in the front wheels like the Pro 4s that were all-wheel drive. So that changes how these drivers have to race on this course. Not only less power, you have to keep momentum going, and same thing with it being 2-wheel drive. Momentum is going to be your best friend, so you can't really make those sliding moves to the inside like we see in the Pro 4s because you can't really gather it up with that all-wheel drive. You have to be careful at when those moves be made.
We'll say hello to our friends across the world as well. Delighted to have your company on RaceSpotTV again for this bragging rights to electric Comentaroo. Now to the big house, to the Crandon International Raceway. And of course, after this, the Formula 4, the iRacing Formula 4 at Rudskogen, the newest base content available to everyone on the iRacing service. You can hear the engines behind us as drivers get their final opportunities for practice. We talk about the 2-wheel drive nature of this car, and that makes it a lot harder in some ways. I always think the Pro 2s are more difficult than the Pro 4s because they both have 900 horsepower. Just one is 4-wheel drive, one is 2-wheel drive. We saw in the World Championship with the All-Stars that rear-wheel drive maybe made it a little bit bigger of a delta. So let's be real here. Edmondson is the presumptive favorite, and by a country mile. We're really seeing who will fight for second on back here today.
And I wouldn't count out Ian Fisher as well at Racecraft. He's called multiple off-road races. He also races these things with the S2 Motorsport guys. So I think he knows what he's doing. I think there's a couple other drivers that might be able to throw a little bit of a chance out there. But I'm looking at the practice lap times right now. Bo Albert, he's just good at everything, I think. 1:24.5. And then you have to go back 2 seconds to find Stefan Schlockscher. You can go back about a tenth to find Joseph Tebben. Then another second to find DJ Clark. Another second to find Cam Dance and a couple other drivers, and then Tim Cox from the Apex Racing TV stables, 1:38. Zach Johnson ran a 1:53 last time by.
Again, not all of these may be representative lap times. I did encourage maybe less practice, and I did that intentionally because it produces more drama and it gives a lot more opportunities for Josh and myself to roast people. And I think this is the race where we are going to be doing the most roasting as qualifying will get underway. Again, we'll throw 5 minutes on the clock. Again, drivers will get the track to themselves and 4 opportunities at a flying lap time. Realistically, you've got 2 opportunities and that is it.
Yeah, these opportunities are going to go quick, and with the Pro 2 lights as well, you just need to be absolutely perfect. There's not a lot of room for error in these machines, which is weird to say, because ultimately these machines are the first ones that you start off on the E-Short course ladder in iRacing. You start off with these cars on rallycross courses, so you would think it has a little bit more of a opportunity for mistakes. That's almost the exact opposite. Pro 4s, I'd say you can gain back a little bit more after a mistake than you can in these Pro 2 lights.
Again, we'll just do a quick reminder of the points as it runs in the team standings as we head into Crandon. Racecraft likely to take a big jump, but again, if you've got 2 drivers, you are at a distinct disadvantage, unfortunately. in this format for this championship. Hopefully next year we can get to a point we can plan this a little bit better, work with the other broadcasters a little bit more, and have 3-4 drivers from each broadcaster, because that is when things will get interesting. Taking a look then at on-track coverage for the first time at Crandon, as drivers get the opportunity to go for the qualifying session. Already a little bit of an error there for Dane Baird. I'm so glad we caught that live.
There's the first spin out. It's very easy to do on that very long sweeping corner. And oh my, here's the number 58.
Here's the one that we expect the world from. Josh Edmondson, so consistent this year in the Off-Road Championship Series, to the point where I think Josh Lee that is, and myself, we're starting to feel like, what more does Edmondson have to do in order to come out on top in a race? 6 podiums, 9 top 5s out of 16 races. No race victory though, Josh.
He could not buy luck in the Off-Road Championship Series, unfortunately, and it was tough to see. Of course, the Jim Beaver Esports stable did still walk away with the championship, but it was very close with Edmondson being up there as well. Let's see what he can do on this lap, and we'll see if he tracks towards the pole. He's only not going to have much of an opportunity. I'm assuming he's going to track towards the pole, but he could make a mistake. It's 3 corners left.
We got to treat our audience like the intelligent people they are. Edmondson is going to be on pole here, and if he is not, let's automatically give a World Championship license to whoever beats him. It should be as simple as that. We didn't mention this. It's a fixed setup competition, so there's no driver development that's gone on. We only announced the races earlier this week, so there's been limited time for practice, and I think Edmondson just bailed on that lap to set up the next and the final opportunity at a lap time, because with 2 minutes left on the clock and lap time's just under 90 seconds, this is the final attempt.
You mentioned licenses, and it's so weird seeing there's a couple of rookies, there's a couple of Class Ds, a couple of Class Cs, there's 2 Class Bs, admittedly, with Austin Knight, and it looks to be Tim Cox. But then you have a smattering of A licenses. Ian Fisher is one, Bo Albert, Rallycross competitor, is the other, obviously, and then Cam Dance with an A license, and Tyler Maxon top of the board.
Let's not forget Maxon did run in some of the All-Star Invitational races earlier this summer, albeit in the Beetle Light. Lewis Ward up to 3rd, Pasoko up to 3rd as well.
There we go.
Yeah, there's that national TV commentary experience coming to the fold. Left side of the screen, you can now track the gaps between the pole and those behind, and we're not shocked to see a much larger delta through the entirety of the field, but we're still waiting for one man. And let's point out that with a land rush start, we're going to start 10 wide, about 3 rows deep. It doesn't really matter where you start, as Cam Dance half a second quicker with authority to the top, as Bo Albert says, thank you very much, 7/10 quicker than Dance.
Yeah, there's the Bo Albert that we've come to know. Edmondson across the line. Oh my goodness.
And now another 6.5 of a second. The slappage has come down. Josh Edmondson says, thank you very much. I will park it on pole position. Oh, and he will get a final opportunity to go, as Zach Johnson has found himself
oh no!
inside of a wall and stricken on the side of his car. We are in for a treat of a land rush start now.
If he was an all-wheel drive, he might have an opportunity to save it, but unfortunately in Pro 2s, you just don't, as the checkered flag falls on qualifying, and we get ready to send 28 drivers in a land rush start.
And let's also point out that I think land rush start does not mean that qualifying position is not important, because we saw the further out to the outside you are, the more danger you are as we get underway here, Josh. And that is why I think if you start inside of the top 5, it is a good spot to be in as we get ready to get underway. Josh so excited he may have forgotten to hit his push to talk button.
Oh no, I thought we were going to the grid.
No, we got a couple of minutes now, because let's be honest, after a qualifying session like that, we need to relax. They need to relax as well. They get a final opportunity to feel the car under them, see how the track has changed, because unlike in the World Championship, no track resets as we get ready to go racing. As always though, let's walk you down through some of the onboard cameras. Of course, we thank the drivers for sending this in. You've got Jack Stiles in the bottom left in VR, Taylor Burris, the great run, middle right, with Joe Peak just below him. So many pages to go through as well. Lorenzo Bonder along with Sam Fitzpatrick, Cam Dance in the rig, Stefan Schlacker up in the top 5. Not Joe Peak, excuse me. DJ Clark of GSRC with his post-it notes and his Mac, of course. Dane Baird from Simply Race. One final screen and just one more driver kitted up and ready to go. Josh, so Edmondson will take us to the green on the inside of the Land Rush start. Who's fighting though for second? It looks likely we'll see the likes of Dance, Albert, maybe even Maxon and Schlacker fighting at the front.
I have to throw Bo Albert into that ring because, I mean, former iRacing Rallycross World Championship competitor. I mean, it's tough not to bet on him, but also with Bo Albert, he didn't really have that many great finishes, admittedly, in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. And again, I say that with the most luck. It was another one of those drivers. He could not buy luck in the last season of that World Championship, even if he wanted to.
That is true. So the drivers are getting lined up and ready to go. We'll have a few minutes to talk through what we'll see on the start. So don't worry too much if you've never seen a start here at Crandon, because boy, are you in for a treat. This is one of the most fun things we can do here on the iRacing.com platform. Let's though run you down through the starting grid as drivers get locked and loaded, 10 wide, ready to rumble. It's no surprise that Josh Edmondson of RaceSpotTV will be on the inside of the front row. To his outside though, a fellow World Championship competitor, Bo Albert, will be looking to tangle and make sure it's dramatic through the course of the 10 laps. Cam Dance, Tyler Maxon, Stefan Schlacker for SimSpeed and RaceSpotTV looking good for them. Danny Amon 6 with Joe Peak, Ryan Jones, Evan Pasoko and Joey Tebben, the front row of the grid. Lewis Ward, after running great at the front of race 1 and then getting involved in the tangle, will start inside of row 2 with Jack Stiles, DJ Clark, Sam Fitzpatrick, Bosher Williams and Knight for the Apex Racing team, making it a trio with Arden and Sherrow Jr. for Pitstop TV on the outside of row 2 with Tranter and Dane Baird to their left. Vinochik, Kennedy, Cox, Lenzi through the top 24 with Fisher, Burris, Bonder and Johnson, bookending our field of 28 cars who get locked and ready to go. We take a look at the field and there is no more dramatic sight than a Land Rush start 10 wide, getting ready to thunder into turn number 5.
Name something more beautiful on the iRacing service, Arjuna, I dare you.
I don't know, I'm not going to argue with that one. Not that tree, that's for sure. So,
perfect camera angle.
Perfect camera. And you can see from here the treachery of going 10 wide. You don't get the sense, though, of how bumpy it is. We are off the racing line. You can see we've come around the turn at turn 4 and then powering down into turn 5. That is where the drivers start this race. With two-wheel drive, if you land wrong, you're going to be in danger.
Yeah, and trying to funnel these two-wheel drive machines down into the first corner here as well, not going to be easy, especially with, it was a challenge with the very, very experienced World Championship drivers. It's going to be even more of a challenge with these less experienced commentators.
To be fair, the first one was fantastic. Second one, maybe not so fantastic. Well, first and second, because we had the double feature format, of course.
Yes, exactly.
So we're getting ready about 30 seconds before drivers will go. We gave ourselves a little more time on the broadcast than we necessarily needed, but iRacing is very flexible with that. It is why we love it. Remember, 28 will go. 1 will walk away on top. We expect it to be Josh Edmondson. If it's anyone else, it will be because this Land Rush start has decimated the field. We had a big one at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. What does the big house have in store for us? The engines will roar, they'll rise in symphony as we're ready to go for the second of 3 races in bragging rights to electric Comentaroo. They drop the clutch, they drop the hammer. A good start from the middle. Edmondson may be roaring a bit tentatively than he would have expected. Contact with Pasoko as they run down with contact to the back and drama already. 3 wide, 4 wide into turn number 5. You can hear the contact, you can hear the drama, but they get through with just 1 FTF car. I believe Joey Tebben going up and over, but landing on all 4 wheels.
How did they survive that? I was expecting way worse. Majority of the field's fine, Arjuna.
Incredible stuff. A car running wide. Joe Peak for the second time today, having some struggles at the front. Bo Albert going for it and trying to get physical, because as they round to Calamity Corner, they know how important Reeling Edmondson will be. Sherrood Jr. as well as Tranter. A bit of carnage for them at the back of the field. Full wide with a pit stop TV car almost clattering into another one as one of them goes up and over. Bonders around through Calamity Corner. What a way to start this race.
Peak went around as well. The 59 of Jack Stiles almost mounting his teammate in the 37 of Lorenzo Bonder. But admittedly, the drivers we expected out in front are Arjuna, Edmondson, Albert, and Dance pulling away at the top three. And then you have to go back a little bit to find Daniel Yeaman and Ryan Jones, who were the top of the street stocks as well. They're at the edge of the top five.
They're still wrecking at the back of the field. Stiles and Bonder for Lorenzo, for RaceSpotTV have got to sort it out and work together here as they move forward. Two-wheel drive going to be very tricky through the hairpin as you slow down, and I think one of the GSRC cars, DJ Clark, getting bogged down through that hairpin. Very different to four-wheel drive, where you can throw the car in and trust it to grip as you get onto the power. For SimSpeed TV, they run second through fifth. It does not get much better than this. As we take a look at the live team championship, they are asserting their dominance as a huge wreck, a humongous wreck. Baird involved, Boscher Williams as well. More drama than we know what to do with.
What just happened? The 27 went into the stratosphere at about the speed of Mach 10. Okay, so we'll try and grab a replay, Arjuna, but this was an Evan Basoko incident. I'm expecting another claim. That's another incident point in RSR for Evan. But he hit the 27 and just sent Sebastian Boscher Williams flipping about 25 times.
We'll try and get a look at maybe some replays when we can, but there is so much fighting going on now. Cox and I believe Boris and Lenzi as well as Sherrood Jr. Oh my... I expected chaos. I didn't know what we were signing up for. Maybe Pro 4s would have been a little bit smarter when we're really being honest, as Johnson bookended his nose into the banking on the outside of the exit of turn 3. That stacks up the field. Fitzpatrick now fighting with Jack Stiles as they work their way forward. Johnson still trying to get onto Terra Firma. My word, what a race so far.
And still the top three pulling away, and Edmondson now pulling away by a good bit over Bo Albert. But look at the top five right now. Single racecraft entry, and then 4 SimSpeed drivers. I think we can admittedly say we know why V8s Online won the inaugural one of these.
And it was Jake Burden that won 4 V8s Online, which is a little bit unfair, but so is having Josh Edmonds, so would be having Hugo Luis, so is having Bo Albert to a certain degree as well, although Bo is eternally cursed with bad luck when it comes to racing action. We are going to try and take a look at some replays, but there are so many of them and I don't know where all to click, so it is going to be an exploratory process, and you will come along with us for the ride, as that was a GSRC car that was still trying to find where it wants to go. But here will be replay number 1 as we'll go side by side. Left side of the screen, we'll grab the replays. And this would be on the start, and just watch the chaos and the carnage.
There was not a ton of it coming off the Land Rush start. I mean, a couple Apex machines. That was the 59.
Jack Stiles
race spot entry at Jack Stiles getting involved in that. But other than that little squabble, and a little bit more now as they worked their way through one of the opening corners there and one of the final corners on the normal lap, and then just a couple more spots that was just these drivers not having that much experience in the Pro 2 lights, possibly not knowing how much room they really need.
Yes, now I understand why I was not producer for this series in the World Championship. There was the tagging around to one of the pit stop TV cars that resulted in Emerson Arden having to tow to pit lane. Then Lenzi, Kennedy, Fisher got stacked up subsequently as well. There was a moment with the iRacing staff member Corey Vinacek and then Joey Tebben as well. We'll grab a look at maybe one more incident, and that's it, because we could probably spend all day looking at this.
Yep, there's another one. I think we have at least 10 more that we can show. Or not that we're gonna, but we have 10 more that we could show. But just incidents all over the place, Arjuna. And I mean, honestly, what else did we expect from Pro 2 Lights at the Big house.
Yeah, the problem with this sort of a race is as well, I want to feature everyone who's given us a webcam for today's race. It's very hard to do so when you're spending as much time as you are just trying to pick apart the pieces of what is going on in the race. So still 2nd through 5th run the SimSpeedTV cars as we take a look at Cam Dance and look at the simulator setup that he's got, enclosed in a chassis. What a feeling that must be. There are some great rigs, and then, like we said, some not-so-great rigs from the likes of Zach Johnson. Oh, rather, not Zach Johnson, who's Ian Fisher. Getting myself all sorts of confused.
Yes, and I thought he would be from a hotel room racing on hotel Wi-Fi, but he's not. I saw his cam when we were looking at the Zoom footage a little bit earlier, and he's racing, I believe, from his parents' garage.
Nice, okay.
I knew he was visiting his parents this weekend. I think he's racing from their garage currently.
To be fair, Jack Stiles is racing from the living room of his girlfriend's parents' house as they look to try and yeah, like there are levels to this, and we admire the commitment from a lot of our drivers. Jack Stiles, speaking of the devil, I think you can call that a commentator's curse, because I've never seen more perfect timing than talking about the situation for a driver and then it ending in tears. Straight to the replay. It's over this technical jump where you have to be sideways as you get into the air, but he just carries too much speed, gets onto the berm on the outside, and then runs the right rear all the way into the stanchion.
An unfortunate incident for Stiles as well. This is about the 3rd incident for him, as Pasoko, Tebben, Bonder, Fitzpatrick, and Moore were able to get by.
Look how close it is.
Oh, and it's all sim speed up there.
It is all sim speed. 4 cars locking up at the front as Knight works past the 83 machine of Joe Peak. A little bit of lap traffic. Incredible. Stefan Schlacker than the best of the rest. The bragging rights 2.5 class, if you will. Joey Tebben tied on points, though. The tiebreaker would likely have to be determined after this race itself. Next time by, we'll reach the halfway marker as Edmondson now builds 3.5 seconds clear of Albert, who is in no man's land of his own. As I just saw Cam Dance dab. Now, we missed it on the camera, and I'm so disappointed in myself for not bringing it up. The confidence to dab in this situation, it shows the dominance that SimSpeed have had so far.
Now, Arjuna.
Oh, my word.
Is that 2 Apex cars coming together? Dame Baird got flung out of the way.
It was a Dame Baird.
Look at that handsome British chap right there. I can say that. We work together every week.
Yeah, I was going to say you can say that. I don't work with him enough. I might get in a little bit of trouble when it comes to harassment laws in the UK. Let's take a look what happened to him, and I have a feeling it is the same section, the very same section that's taken out Dave. You can see how crossed up he was as he landed. That was always going to end in tears, and he gets a helping hand from Sam Fitzpatrick.
No, and he went around again going through the final corner, and he gets back going P17. But looking at the wheel for Cam Dance, running an F1 style wheel, I have to get your opinion, Arjuna. F1 style wheel, GT style wheel, or oval style wheel for this type of racing, as we see as Zach Johnson almost get into an incident.
No, keep watching.
Oh, goodness. Okay, we see Zach Johnson getting into an incident.
And still getting into an incident. He's not out of it just yet. We get honest. We said we were going to roast people. They knew what they were signing up for. It's been better than anyone could have expected. What a slide there from Dane Baird. Look of concentration on the face of someone not happy with the Thrustmaster pedals that I think he's having to deal with. And to be fair, I'm coming off the Porsche Esports Challenge last weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Josh, where I got to try the setup that the Gran Turismo World Tour drivers are using. I am shocked that they are as fast as they are, because boy, I was slow.
I don't know if I've ever tried Gran Turismo, to be fully honest with you.
Really?
I don't believe I ever have. It's console only, isn't it?
It's a product of your age as well.
That's very true.
Okay, so we looked at the live driver standings. Let's look at the live team standings. RaceSpotTV. No bias. No bias.
Not at all. I can't hear any bias.
They're quietly up to second. I'm not happy about that at all. Stefan Schlacker, Tyler Maxson, Lorenzo Bonder, Stiles, all within the top. Good. We were meant to have a much stronger driver lineup, Hugo Luis along with maybe a couple more, but we only have 4 representing us today. Josh, don't forget who gave you your first World Championship opportunity.
I mean, okay, very, very true. Honestly, I could have raced for RaceSpot tonight. I could have raced for Apex. I could have raced for iRacing. I could have raced for Racecraft. I could have raced for FTF. I had 5 options, and I chose the booth.
To be fair, this is the most fun that we're having. Let's be honest.
Oh. I would much rather be up here than down on the track right now.
Dan Yeaman fighting side by side with Ryan Jones. These two have to be careful. They're fighting for the Drivers' Championship, of course, but the teams is on the line. They'll come to 3 to go in next time by because Edmondson is 13 seconds clear of them. They'll round the final corner. My word, what a day we're having. Let's focus in then on where we can. I was going to say Pit Stop TV, but Ed Shearer Jr. is 14 seconds behind Taylor Burris. 6 seconds in front of Tim Cox. Artisan is 2 laps down, so unfortunately, and he's down on pit road. Tough day for them after was looking promising during the GSRC round. Now, Joey Tebben is doing all right after running almost to the podium in our race at Charlotte.
P14 currently, he's still on the lead lap, which is honestly the majority of the field right now is still on the lead lap. And you know why that is, Arjuna? Because these trucks, whether it's Pro 4s, Pro 2s, Pro 2 lights, these things can take a beating. We're seeing trucks with almost no bodywork left on them. And guess what? They're still able to race on the track and be at full speed.
That's Jake Kennedy. Oh, and he almost got clipped as well there. Still trying to find the right opportune time to rejoin as now his teammates continue to fly by. He goes a lap down. That engine is toast. I was assuming that was going to happen. It was inevitability that Jay Kennedy's car was toasted beyond belief. There is a fight brewing. Bonder, Fitzpatrick, Tebben, 12 through 14. Crucial points in that battle between the Apex Racing team and RaceSpotTV. Jack Stiles and Evan Pasoka behind, not far behind as well. And let's talk about Jack Stiles for a second because it's a topic we talked about during the World Championship. Virtual reality in off-road racing.
And he's got the motion rig too.
No.
Is it not motion? It's just moving?
He's just not tied in the bolts hard enough.
Okay, so he's got 1/3 of Cam Peterson. I hope he has good internet.
Oh.
So to avoid the
so
last
he's 2/3
of Cam Peterson.
Yeah, so no, he's there. He just doesn't have the motion.
He just doesn't have the motion. If we see Jack Stiles now drop out with internet,
that is on you, not me.
How's that? Okay, fine.
Because you mentioned it first.
I'll take it on me.
Yeah, you mentioned it first. So here's that fight. Apex Racing TV versus Lorenzo Bonder of RaceSpotTV as they fight for points here. On board look with both of them. Bonder ensconced in his new home in Portugal. Beanie as well, trying to... I don't know what he's trying to click. There's not much you have to click in a race here. Just 10 laps in length with about a lap and a half to go. Fitzpatrick down low as there's a spinner through turn 4. Look at the focus. Minimal input as well from Fitzpatrick. Clearly has been getting lessons from the likes of Jake Robertson and, of course, who can forget the World Championship that the Apex Racing team won last year.
And he's trying to hold it around the outside, the long way round. White flag taken by Josh Edmondson. And Bonder going to lose out on the spot. Does he go for the crossover move? Looks to the inside here. Slides it out, but that 58 of Josh Edmondson is well and clear by 8 seconds over Bo Albert. As he goes into the tree hairpin, there's Jay Kennedy and his, I think that might be a product of waking up at 2 a.m. for this as he gets hit by a SimSpeed teammate.
Yeah, that was Bo Albert, who he got the extra love tap from, who's now fallen a little bit further back into the clutches of the likes of Cam Dance, Dan Yeaman, and Ryan Jones. But again, 2nd through 5th for SimSpeeds, just 1 race left. It's almost guaranteed before, unless something sudden and swift was to befall the entirety of Australia's internet, in which case they would get no points for not showing up for the next race. They have one hand on the bragging rights trophy. It will just be the question of which driver will stand on top when we finish off at the newest base content available on the iRacing platform, Rudskogen, the iRacing Formula 4. But dominant as expected, 9 seconds clear of Bo Albert. Josh Edmondson will take Racecraft TV to victory in bragging rights to electric Comentaroo.
There we go. This was the main game for Racecraft TV, was to get Josh Edmondson the win in the Pro 2 lights. Now him and Ian have to really show up in the IRO 4s, which is concerning.
Yeah, that's going to be Interesting. High downforce setup. I've heard the springs are maybe not optimal, to put it mildly. What a fun day this really is. I only wish now that in hindsight I had made it a bit longer and maybe added a few more events to the party. Apex Racing TV get 3 drivers in the top 10 with Fitzpatrick as well in 12th. That might be important in our battle for the team championship. Remember, only the top 3 score points. Schlacker, Maxon, as well as Bonder scored inside the top 14 for RaceSpotTV. SimSpeed are saying they'll take 2nd through 5th. I bet you will. Oh my word!
Oh my god!
The producer's eye in me decided to focus on Ryan Jones.
That was a good hunch.
We were not disappointed. Still wait for Taylor Burris and Ed Sheeran Jr. to come across the line as Burris wrecks across the line. This was the master plan, Josh. We were going to force drivers to buy Crandon by putting it in this event. Hopefully, they weren't disappointed.
All that money is going to go right to Chris Leone to get iRacing to scan the short course track at Lucas Oil Speedway.
More off-road tracks, please. We had a lot of fun with the 4 that we had this year, but I agree.
This was the long con. More money to iRacing for short course.
And clearly, we're just working along with Chris Leone as well. We are henchmen in his master plan. So wait for one car to come across the line before we get to your race results. So just bear with us for a moment. Boy, are we in for a treat. High downforce, Rudskogen. Uncertainty, I think, for many drivers. And for race 1, I don't think we had a favorite. Race 2, we definitely didn't have a favorite. Let's be complete. We did have a favorite, excuse me. Race 3, I think I have a favorite. I think Cam Dance will be the one to beat as we break out the open wheel machines.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I mean, open wheel, it's still roadside, so I think Bo Albert might be another good choice. I mean, I've seen Dane Baird have some solid speed here, but then what are the other guys going to bring out? What is Sam Fitzpatrick going to bring out? He's commentated on these IRO4s a lot. What is he going to do when it comes to behind the wheel?
Give us a couple more moments to get those race results. What a fun track Crandon is. I will say, I don't think it's my favorite of the off-road tracks, though, Josh. I still have a soft spot for Bark River and the finish that we had there.
Crandon's just, I mean, it's like the pylon says, Crandon World Cup. I mean, this is the big house, but I think in terms of like racing on the track, I like Bark River more, I think a little bit too, just because that long run to the finish, and there's like 3 passing zones that lead up to the start finish line, which creates those exciting finishes.
No, Bark River has really got a soft spot in my heart now. Here's a look though at the race results confirmed. Josh Edmondson walks away with the victory and the 40 points, but Bo Albert leads the quartet of SimSpeed drivers that'll assert their dominance on this bragging rights too. Stefan Schlacker, the best then of the not expected favorites in 6 with Lewis Ward, Mark Tranter, Tyler Maxon, Austin Knight through the top 10. Behind them, DJ Clark, Sam Fitzpatrick 11th and 12th with GSRC represented by DJ Clark in 11th, Bonder, Teb and Pasoko through the top 15. Evan was running well, but I think Landrush start got the better of him, unfortunately. Jack Stiles 16th in virtual reality with Dane Baird, Taylor Burris, Ed Sheeran Jr., Sebastian Boscher-Williams through the top 15. Then, to the final page of results, Tim Cox, Ian Fisher, Giancarlo Lenzi, Kennedy, Peak, Arden Johnson, as well as Vinacek rounding out our 28 that took to the grid. As always, we'll grab a look at the points before we turn our attention to a new track. 1 point splits RaceSpotTV and the Apex Racing team, but with the margin that SimSpeed have built up, again, it will be about consistency and rolling their way to the checkered flag in the final of the 3 races about to get underway.
All I'm seeing here is Racecraft TV is beating Zach Johnson, which is really, I'll take it.
More smack being talked. Of course, going to be close between iRacing and GSRC as well, as we head to a very unfamiliar track to some. I wonder if Corey had been taking advantage of some of his early access to do some practice. Let's take a look at the championship standings, though, because, boy, this will be fun. It's 9 points that splits 1st through 4th. Technically, Joey Tebben is in, and we've seen him be fast in Formula 3 machines in the Precision Racing League. However, if we're being honest, it's hard to discount Dan Yeaman with another top 5 finish, could lock himself in as our champion.
And I have to apologize. That was out of pocket for Zach Johnson. He
No,
just
it was
produced
not.
for Racecraft
It's
last
fine.
night.
It's fine.
He produced for Racecraft last night, so he's a part of the Racecraft team. But of
Exactly.
course, FTFGG is his. It's his child. So of course, racing for FTF, I get it. But Joey Tebbin in the top 5 is really good. But then I think the second iRacing Bragging Rights Invitational is really just proving that the reason V8's Online won the original race, because they're clearly still strong.
Still very, very strong, and so many strong drivers, and it adds a lot to the technical aspect of a broadcast as well. I'm a big fan of having commentators that understand the nuances of cars and tracks, and well, maybe that will help them get up to speed at what is bound to be a very interesting and electric race that we are just moments away from getting underway with the qualifying session 4. Let's not dawdle anymore. Let's grab a look at some on-track coverage of what is bound to be the most unique race that we're going to have today, just because of the unfamiliarity that every single driver will have with this one. But we break out a car that has fast become a favorite across of the iRacing service, Josh. This Formula 4 machine puts on a show, in the VCO Esports Racing League, which returns this coming Wednesday with its Fall Cup, will focus on iRacing and focus on this Formula 4 car. It's a draft car, but it can showcase your technical aspects as well.
And this track being brand new is also going to throw a massive curveball for all of these drivers. I mean, other than Corey Vervinkst, who is part of the iRacing crew.
Oh, you have to correct me on his pronunciation, please.
I've been meaning to, but I was going to do it very nicely
let's
and
do
just
it
say
properly.
his name at one point.
How do we say it? Come on, teach
Vervinkst.
me. Vervinkst. God.
Vervinkst, I believe.
I am never going to hear the end of this.
I've heard it said Vervinkst. So that's just what I'm going with. If hashtag blame James Pike if it's incorrect.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm all for blaming anyone who is not a RaceSpotTV commentator.
Okay. All right. Perfect. But P3 right now, so I think he did have a little bit of practice in the early access.
So we're going to ride around for a lap or so while we just spool everything up on our broadcast production side, as Bo Albert says, get out of my way. Let's ride on board with, how do we say his name, Josh Lee?
Corey Vervinkst.
There we go. Runs a bit wide through one of the sweeping, slower speed corners. Drivers did mention softer springs at the front. It means it might be a little bit lackadaisical in terms of direction change and move around a little bit more than expected, a little less of an aerodynamic platform for high speed. But you can see it's not necessarily the widest of tracks either, Josh.
It is not, and I honestly have no idea where they're going through right now, so
No
I'm going to
idea.
pull up a track map.
You load up the track map. I'm still trying to load into the session on my second PC.
All right, cool. So we have a lot of time to solve.
We have a lot of time before we'll move to qualifying, that's for sure. So, bit of a spin as well as drivers get to grips with the limits of the track. Now I know where we are, because relatively there is a pit lane on the left-hand side. So I can confirm this is the pit straight in towards turn number 1, braking it roughly, I would say, the 75-meter marker. Use the curb on the inside if you can. Watch for pit exit on the left-hand side. It's a lot sharper, though, as you continue to work through the corner.
Ooh.
As well, that's a bit of a spin and a half. Now let's look at Tyler Maxson, because he was telling me
He knows what he's doing.
if anyone has practiced, it is this man. The pressure is on him, because he was telling me how much fun this is after I announced the combos earlier this week.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing when it comes to open wheel racing, when it comes to road racing in general. Of course, a real life TCR driver. So if anybody, you know, the only driver that I would put more money on to win this than Tyler is Hugo, if he would have found the power cord for his wheel.
I tell you what, we don't know the track well enough. We're still getting set up. We're going to take a step aside. We're going to show you a little bit more about this wonderful facility that has joined iRacing as free content for everyone on the service. A great look at this great facility that joins the ranks of so many tracks that have welcomed newcomers to the iRacing service. Hello everyone and welcome back to Bragging Rights to Electric Comentaroo, as 6 years to the day after a fastest broadcaster was crowned, we will do it again, and as it stands so far, the defending lineal champions are standing up tall. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, delighted as always to be joined by my partner in crime, Joshua Lee. And Josh, we've had two great races, two very different races to what we're in store for now, of course, though, as we head on over to a high downforce car at a road course. Crandon was great, Charlotte was great. It's time, though, to crown a champion.
We've already put back two races, and now we are here for the final one, which is going to be the most interesting, I think, because Street Stocks at Charlotte, pretty straightforward. Basically like a mini restrictor plate. Pro 2 lights at Crandon, yes, challenging, but also pretty straightforward. This one is not really that much. These cars have been around for about a better part of a year, over a year now, and then this track is only about 5 days old. So not a lot of experience on this track really for anybody.
And we have featured some great racing in this Formula 4 car on Friday Night Primetime over the course of the past year or so. And a reminder that Friday Night Primetime will be up to your vote week in, week out. Over the next 12 weeks, head on over to the RaceSpotTV Discord, racespot.wtf/Discord. Voting is open now. As always, though, oh, I'm so glad that we get these camera views, and I am so disappointed that I've been so frantically behind the scenes trying to keep myself above water, and we haven't been able to look a little bit more at all of these beautiful faces focused on what has been an electric day of racing so far, still with one race left to play. And we begin qualifying. We throw 5 minutes on the board again with solo car qualifying, 4 laps attempted. The final time that the drivers feel the pressure of a qualifying clock.
And this qualifying session might be the most important because we don't really know how much these cars are going to spread out on this course, or if they'll spread out at all. So they need this qualifying. They need to qualify up close to the front so they at least have an opportunity to pull away once this race begins. As we look at one of the sim speed entries, looks to be the number 6 machine at Cam Dances. He's going to go way out to the outside and bring it right back in.
Yeah, suboptimal, to quote our own Lewis McLeod, as he winds up for one of 4 qualifying attempt laps. Don't think you'll get all of them at best. I think, again, we are looking at just the 2 laps for drivers. So a little bit of pressure. Again, IROC style schemes for all the teams and drivers, so relatively easy to identify them. And on the timing tower on the left side of your screen, when we get some times on the board, you'll see the broadcast logos to make it even easier to pick them apart. Dance will be one of the first cars to come across the line, though, as he winds himself up for qualifying lap number 1. It doesn't get more different than the 3 disciplines that we have really selected, right, Josh? I mean, the only other curveball that we could throw at drivers would be to go break out a sprint car at Eldora or something like that.
Which, for the bragging rights 3, yes?
No, but that benefits the Australians even more. We can't allow that.
No, okay. You're not wrong, but it also would be very entertaining, especially if we throw 410s into the mix.
Ooh, okay. Okay, I like this.
I mean, if we're gonna put them in anything, we should put them in the 410 horsepower sprint cars that have a power to weight ratio that is more than an F1 car.
So I think Bo Albert might actually be the first lap time on the board as he powers out of the final corner here in Norway. Across the line, what will it be? A 1:18.60 at 5. GSRC off the pace initially, lots of curb usage there. Ryan Jones provisionally second, but plenty more drivers still yet to come across the line.
2 sim speed drivers at the front. There's RaceSpot's Jack Styles in third. Lewis Ward, Joey Tebb in the top 5. Joey Tebb very consistent today and looking to continue that as we look on board with Jack Styles and is not motion rig, just not properly bolted down.
Motion, not motion rig, I think is probably the best way to say it. For Dan Yeaman,
Motion-ish.
I did mention late replacement came in just about an hour and a half before we got underway. Now on pole position, is he on course to being crowned the fastest commentator on iRacing? We're about to find out with 24 laps still lying in front of us. It is SimSpeed 1 and 2, and a bit of history around Jack Styles and the love triangle that surrounds him. Styles part of the Fitzy Motorsports team. Fitz, Sam Fitzpatrick, Sty, Jack Styles. Earlier this year, the team got a rebrand to Orbit Motorsport, where it's now Jack Styles, along with Cam Dance running the show. I was making a bit of a joke to Jack Styles. You got to be careful. His girlfriend's got some competition.
That's also very... Does that make for an awkward race? All three of them are in this race.
I know. Fitzpatrick 11th. Albert goes up to the top. Edmondson into the top 10. Time starting to rein in thick and fast as Austin Knight inside of the top 12.
I mean, if we're judging by the times purely, I mean, Cam Dance 8th, Jack Styles 4th, and then Sam Fitzpatrick all the way down to 11th. I think Styles made the right decision. It was too easy. It was right there.
It was right there. Here's a look on board with Sebastian Bosch-Williams, one of the 7 cars yet to put a lap time on the board as he continues to struggle in qualifying. Winds his way through a double right-hand sweeper. Another car yet to punch in a lap time is... as I think we just saw the tail end of maybe a spin, and that's actually going to be qualifying done. I didn't even notice how qualifying was flying on past. Wow, what a session we've had. And again, it is SimSpeed that look on top as we get set to go racing for the final time this evening.
I saw Josh Edmondson in ninth there.
I was shocked.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting him to be really that good at these things, but look at him, top 10 in qualifying. What about it?
I did see he's been doing some Porsche Cup racing as well recently, so maybe no total shock to see Edmondson doing relatively well. Again, before we advance to the race session, Josh, before we get underway, I think it's fair that we remind everyone of the stakes heading into this one, because it's close. To crown the fastest commentator / producer broadcaster alive, Dan Yeaman leads by 2 points ahead of Ryan Jones. Bo Albert on top in qualifying, but with a point being a position, he's got to make sure he separates himself by 6 positions from Dan Yeaman.
And you can see back from there, you still have Cam Dance, you still have Joey Tebbin all in the mix. Stefan Schlockscher has an opportunity to be the top race spot driver. Taylor Burris just 1 point ahead of his iRacing fellow commentator and Evan Pasoko. I'm interested in that one, as well as the 1 point gap between Bosch-Williams and Ward.
Let's keep scrolling, because I want to see how much closer it is, because I thought so. All the way down.
Beating Josh. Let's go, Ian. That's how you do it.
I love it. The friendly rivalries that will build. Dane Baird, Lorenzo Bonder, watch for that one as well, because I get the sense that might get a little bit snippy once we finish up the racing action, and we'll scroll through to the very tail end. And if you want an opportunity, Josh, the floor is yours.
Corey should be faster at this. He is a beta tester for iRacing, basically, with working in the broadcast team. I was expecting Jay Kennedy to do a little better, but he hasn't raced in a couple of years. Austin Knight, 20... Come on, Austin.
Love it. Open floor. Josh did not need a second invitation. Here's the team championship. Let's be real. SimSpeed, one hand on that fastest company, broadcasting company in iRacing, which hurts a little bit, I'm not going to lie, but RaceSpotTV still trying to grab a hold of second. And I'll break out the RaceSpotTV box of excuses, Josh, because I guess I am the representative for them here. No Hugo Luis, because someone ate his power cords. Sabotage! Someone flew to Brazil and stole his power cord. That's why he's not racing. Zach Sweeney, someone sabotaged him as well. Paul Smith, someone made sure he was busy, because we know Paul is great on dirt. Has won an IRX All-Star Invitational. I got more excuses if we want to go through the list.
I feel like at the end of this, you have to go through the entire list of excuses, because we were already hearing excuses from Tyler Maxton yesterday.
Yes, no, he was trying to get out in front of it. That is completely fair. Well, for the final time then, Josh, I will ask for a prediction as we get set to go racing. Not of who wins this race, because I think whoever wins this race becomes our bragging rights to Electric Comentaroo champion.
I think I'm sticking with Yeaman. It's too easy, because I mean, he's been fast in everything. He's still fast here. He just needs to avoid wrecking, and he's going to end up being our bragging rights 2 champion.
Well, it is that time when The tension will rise for the final time. We get set to go racing to crown the fastest commentator here on iRacing. Let's dial you down through the starting grid because Bo Albert needs victory, and you'll start from pole position. A 1:18.341, good enough to get the former World Championship driver to the front of the field. To his outside, the points leader Dan Yeaman looking to secure the championship and round off a great day for SimSpeed TV. Tyler Maxson inside of Jack Stiles fighting against the Apex Racing TV team. For second in points, Lewis Ward for the orange and black of Apex inside of Joey Tebbin to complete the top 6. Ryan Jones, Cam Dance, a SimSpeed affair on row 4 with Josh Edmondson, usually on the dirt, but finding his way through the open wheelers into 9th, along with Stefan Schlacker. Fitzpatrick and Knight for the Apex Racing TV team, 11th and 12th, with Clark and Shura Jr. for GSRC and Pitstop TV, 13th and 14th spot. Tranter and Baird, 15th and 16th, with Vrnicek and Peak, 17th and 18th. I apologize, Corey, again. Jay Kennedy, Emerson Arden, Taylor Burris, Bonder, Boscher, Williams, Lenzi. Gotta go through quickly because we're getting ready to go racing with Cox, Pasoko, Johnson, and Fisher in what is a rather quiet and cold night in Rudskogen. We are ready to go racing for the final time. And for Josh, drivers at the back, surviving those opening couple of corners will be paramount.
And it's a very, very tight first chicane as well, looking at the track map that I admittedly just pulled up about 10 minutes ago, and this is the first time I'm looking at this track. Tight hairpin at turn 1 to the left, and then immediately sweeping through turn 2. Good S section in the middle sector, and then a pretty high speed final couple of corners, turn 13 and 14. They gotta survive that turn 1 though. Hard braking zone at the 75 board. Let's see what happens.
Timing doesn't get much better. Silver Scrapes will come to a close. It will be replaced by the roar of the engines. For the final time today, we're ready to race in bragging rights 2 with a SimSpeed lockout of the front row yet again. They punch the hammer down. We're racing at Rudskogen. It's a great start from Bo Albert. Yeaman slots into second, knowing that's good enough to secure him the championship. Maxson third, Stiles fighting side by side to hold on to a spot inside the top 6. A nice tidy start up and down through the field though. A couple of cars flirting with track limits. A huge wreck with Jay Kennedy involved in the back.
Kennedy is out. Same thing with Sebastian Boscher Williams involved there. Joe Peak for GSRC decided to start from the pit lane. Honestly, I think that might be a good decision as the entire field horsed through the middle sector.
Still winding their way with 2 wide. Fighting inside of the top 6. Dane Baird, Emerson Arden as well have gone off the track. We said it was going to be busy. It's 24 laps at a track where it's difficult to pass. These opening laps going to be so important to secure track position through the second and third sectors of the lap. They go into the braking zone at the hairpin and winding into the final complex of corners. A car over commits. Ryan Jones and Cam Dance battle side by side with one another. But since the calamity of the opening corner, it's been tidy since then.
Working their way now back to towards the end of the lap here. And you can see that FTF.GG machine up towards the front of Joey Tebbin, but it's all SimSpeed at the front. Come on, Tyler Maxson, third place. Try and get around him. You're only 3/10 back.
Ryan Jones may have a slowdown penalty. He'll drop down. And now in the fight for second in the championship, that might be vital as well. Cars trying to work around him. Jack Stiles running wide, holds on to 6th spot. Drivers seem to have figured out on the exit of the opening complex of corners, you can run wide, ramp off the corner, and throw yourself down the hill, but he'll lose out to Cam Dance as they battle and maybe damage. Jack Stiles losing out now for RaceSpotTV.
Joey Tebbin loses a spot to Cam Dance. Dance up to 5th. Stefan Slockscher went around. Corey Vervingst also went around. A ton of damage to that iRacing machine. But Bo Albert to the front of the field. 1-2 for SimSpeed. Lewis Ward for Apex Racing TV rounds out the top 3 with Maxson and Dance, RaceSpot SimSpeed top 5.
Let's try working through some replays. This is on the start. It was 3 wide and yeah, it was never really going to work with those sort of lines that are being run by some of the drivers. Boscher Williams getting together with Kennedy in that SimSpeed machine, and that left Kennedy, the main producer at SimSpeed, stricken in the kitty litter.
So on to lap 2, and not a ton of moving around, admittedly, through the field, Arjuna.
Yeah, not so much. So we're going to quickly take this opportunity to full screen replay. We aren't like Formula One. Hopefully we aren't going to miss anything important, even though as I say that, around goes Josh Edmondson. I tell you what, the commentator's curse has been strong today. Tebben now under pressure as Jack Stiles tries to take advantage of the situation. He won't be able to do so, but I tell you what, commentator's curse, it does not get more perfect than that.
That was absolutely perfect, right as you were talking about, oh, well, hopefully we won't miss anything. At least before you hit the replay button to go to the replay, Edmondson went around, and I believe Edmondson just went off track again, way off track in the middle sector.
Yeah, it's been an interesting race so far for some. Quiet's down now. Tim Cox has gone around as well. All right, we're going to try this again. Take two of replays as Stiles down the inside of Tebben, locks the right front, but through the hairpin, uses the off-camera nature of the corner that forces Tebben out wide to take advantage, to slide his way forward. A nicely executed move there for RaceSpotTV's Jack Stiles. Let's pick this one up then, and ooh. So that's how Dane Baird goes off the track. Emerson Arden then has a subsequent moment just after this in the Pit Stop TV car, down the hill and sideways by himself.
That was a bit of a touch to the grass on the inside as well. And still out in front, it's the SimSpeed duos. Another replay, middle sector here.
I think it's just slowdowns for so many drivers. It's triggering. No. Oh no, that's Ian Fisher.
That's Ian getting flipped around. Edmondson got flipped around as well. Bad times for Racecraft right now.
Yeah, it's been a tough one. Ed Shearer Jr. has had his own issue now as well. So Pit Stop TV have had both cars outside of the top 20 as it runs at the point. But let's clue you in with the team standings, because it is RaceSpot that swings 6 points clear of Apex Racing TV in the team championship. Of course, SimSpeed locking their itself in as it stands right now, but still a long way to go. In the drivers' points, well, 4 points splits Yeaman from Albert. Bo Albert's doing all he can, running at the front, but Dan Yeaman would have to drop to potentially at 6th spot for Bo Albert to walk away on top.
And how about top 4 for SimSpeed right now, with Joey Tebben representing for FTF in 5th. Justin Malillo was calling for a raise for Joey Tebben. I think I need to contact Zach Johnson and get that raise for him.
We're going to have to fight about that one, because Joey is a hot commodity right now. I've loved Joey since he joined us at RaceSpot TV. Such a hard-working individual, cannot sing his praises high enough. Joe Peak had a moment off the track, but seems to have saved it. Now Taylor Boris and Emerson. Well, there's smoke, and where there's smoke, there's usually a car around. In this case, there are 2.
That's the 45 and the 57. That's Emerson Arden in the 57. 45 is Taylor Burris, and a lot of damage to the front end of that number 45, and there's a tail end of that replay. Yeah, we are just picking up it. They just get entangled with one another. Maybe quirk of the iRacing damage model coming together, and yeah, you can see for Burris. Big damage to his iRacing.com entry. It's been a tough day for Taylor overall. He still made that turn. It's not on 3 wheels. It's surprisingly running pretty good.
So in terms of point battles then, it's crucial for Apex Racing TV that they try and strip as many points away from RaceSpot as possible and gain as many as they can do so as well. So this fight that sees Stiles and Austin Knight going to be important as Austin Knight loops it on power. But in slow motion, Ryan Jones slows as well, and we don't have a huge checkup.
They survive, thankfully, as they work their way now, and that's going to be Austin Knight hitting the pit lane here.
Must have some damage on that car. Ryan Jones is the one that slowed to avoid the chaos. Just as it seems like every time we go and look at someone, we are managing to throw commentator's curse down on them. Here's the onboard look from Austin Knight as they came into that into this left-hand complex. You can see the rear had already stepped around. A bit of a tap from behind as well, and that's where the damage likely came.
Unlimited fast repairs, remember, so he can get that fixed. He's just going to lose a good bit of time, and already scored well down into P17 as Joe Peak passes him on the racetrack. But Bo Albert out in front. I mean, driver in Rallycross, driver in Porsche competition. Not shocked to see him up front.
What's that done again? We'll look at that at some point, because I am enjoying. Lorenzo's done it as well. There's Jake Kennedy on screen for a moment's time. as Lorenzo Bonder has pinned it by himself as well. Oh, I'm enjoying this way too much. I am judge, jury, and executioner. Here's a look at what happened. To be fair, Zach Johnson does nothing wrong there.
Okay, but the sentence, "What's Zach done again?" We need that sound, buddy.
Yes, we will clip that. Here's Lorenzo. Blame Lorenzo. As we've seen this incident before, it's just these elevation changes, the small switches in the track that we have. It's catching these drivers loose, and while we were under replay, Tyler Maxson gets in front of Lewis Ward. That might be crucial when it comes to the points, as Ian Fisher has gone around again.
Ian back in the wall. Come on, man. He does so much racing with the S2 Motorsport. I thought he'd have a little bit better opportunity to get some good results in a wide variety of cars, but clearly not.
And yes, too, is all about the diversity as well, so I would have expected it. Here's a look at what happened to him then as we ride on board with the RaceSpotTV machine. Again, it's just the rear of the car through these dips and ebbs and flows through the natural elevation of the terrain here. It's again caught yet another driver out. Live points again. Confirmation still 4 splits, Yeaman and Albert. Dance and Jones, 3 separates them in the fight for third. Tebben has roared in front of the likes of Lewis Ward. That will please him as well. And in the team championship, it is now 8 points in the favor of RaceSpotTV.
RaceSpot sitting in second, and then Apex, their drivers are dropping like flies, unfortunately, with the Austin Knight pulling into the pit lane, and Transit, Fitzpatrick, and Ward earning points right now. They can get a little bit more positions. I'm expecting a little bit more from Mark Transit, which if you guys don't know, he works for the Mercedes-AMG F1 team. I won't say exactly where.
So high expectations.
Clearly he's not at the track right now, so he works somewhere in the factory, but I won't say where. But I expect more from him in the open wheel sector, as it looks like a sim speed or a GSRC machine went around there for a moment.
Yeah, I think Giancarlo Lenzi in the GSRC car maybe tangle with Tim Cox in the Apex Racing TV machine, and separately Ryan Jones had his own issue, as Lewis Ward now has an issue in the Apex Racing TV car. Any chance of Apex fighting with RaceSpot seem to have flipped through the clutches. We're still on lap 8 of 24 though. Lorenzo Bonder loses out to Evan Pasoko. There is a long way still to go in this one.
And there's 2 Apex Racing machines of Fitzpatrick and Ward now, trying to hold a little bit at the top 5. Tyler Maxson only about 2.5 seconds off of the race lead, just cannot gain back much time. He's gonna need Albert or somebody up front to make a mistake, as Lorenzo Bonder, Evan Pasoko just went side by side for a moment, as we see a replay of the issue to the Apex Racing machine award, and drifting, and that's a proper spin.
So that's the 3rd time we've seen a car go around like that at that very same complex as well. So again, indicates just how tricky and treacherous this track can truly be. I've seen again, what has Zach done this time? New segment on RaceSpotTV. We're about to find out. This time there's no assistance.
So there's the proper spin from Zach. We can use what has Zach done now.
Yes, no, we can. He's going to hate me for saying this, but it's like Jimmy Johnson in IndyCar. Where's the Jimmy Johnson yellow? You know one's coming over the course of the weekend. It's just the question of when. Pasoko and Bonder, you mentioned fighting side by side. They've gone back and forth a couple of times now, swapping around. Momentum shifting between the 2 of them, as Johnson's around again.
And back to the chat as well. Justin Malillo, Zach looking at another consistent P27.
Yeah, at this rate, unfortunately, probably. We're going to do it again. Whew. I'm sorry, Zach. We are going to pick up what happened to you. This is what happens when you work with RaceSpotTV. We have to go harder on you because we love you so much. I think the balance of this car is, if Lewis Ward is struggling with it, we clearly know it is not the easiest car to manhandle.
And this car isn't. I mean, it's again one of those cars that you see in Class D, Class C competition in the road license, but you can see how skinny those tires are. I mean, it's like you riding motorcycle tires onto an open wheel car. Not a ton of grip in those things, especially the heat build up. They will get out of a working window if you're working them hard enough. As
Zach.
We see Maxson and Moore, and Zach's around again.
Right in front of Tyler Maxson as well. I wasn't even looking to showcase that one. We're looking, though, at Maxon, Yeaman, and Dance, second and fourth, as they run right now. Zach's just popped into the YouTube chat, I think, to plead his case. I'm sorry, Zach, but you knew what you were signing up for with this one.
Yeah, I think he knew he was going to get a bit of the roasting. I'm kind of upset we haven't gotten to roast Tyler that much. He's been doing pretty good.
I know, I'm so disappointed. Now, unfortunately, I don't think for lack of effort. He has definitely been trying, as that's Ian Fisher who's gone around as well. You're going to have plenty to tease your co-commentators with over the next couple of months. I
will, and I also noticed on Tyler Maxon, did he have telemetry in the bottom monitor there?
Yes. Oh, he's tryhard. I told you. This is the quintessential tryhard as a pit stop TV car goes around, and Tyler Maxon gets involved, I think, with that one. A huge wreck through turn one. Dance may be involved in that one as well. And Yeaman in pit lane.
Yeaman hits the pit lane. Tyler Maxon to second. Bo Albert might have just taken the lead of the bragging rights too.
How quickly things will change.
He did!
Confirmation. Bo Albert now leads in points. Dan Yeaman minding his P's and Q's. Unbelievable. We knew there would be drama. We didn't think it would come like that. Bo Albert is your new leader in bragging rights 2 electric Comentaroo.
Wow. It's still a sim speed 1, 2, 3, 4, but now with Bo Albert leading the way, Tyler Maxon only can try and deny Bo Albert a race win now. But Bo Albert, we didn't talk much about Bo. Admittedly, I didn't know he was racing until today.
Okay, so we have got to figure out what happened there and how it happened. So straight to the replay machine we will go, and we'll come from up above. Aerial coverage brought to you by ATVO. Maxon into pit lane as well. Around the car went, and to be fair, whether he's moving or not, that contact was bound to happen because there was just not that much time to react. Dan Yeaman across the scene of the spin. Maxon loses, I think, a part of his front end as well. He'll drop inside the top 10. Still should be enough to take the lead over the Apex Racing TV team. But heartbreak for Dan Yeaman.
That's so unfortunate for Yeaman. He was one of the best through the street stocks. One of the best through the Pro 2 lights.
RaceSpot and Apex Racing TV are tied on points as they run right now. Remember, the top 3 from each organization will score points. Fitzpatrick and Ward 2 seconds back from Dant, unlikely to close. Styles a further 2 separated from them. He's got some work to do. Schlacker versus Tranter, that might be the fight for second in this team championship.
Racecraft is beating FTFs to stop the count. We're good. Throw the checkered flag, Arjuna.
Schlacker with the move to the inside. Is this where second will be determined? They run side by side through the S's. As close as they will dare, with respect shown between the two of them. My word, what a race we are having so far. What a bragging rights we have had. What a 6 years it has been to wait as Schlacker takes liberties with track limits.
This is the battle now for that second spot of the points. It's all coming down to Mark Tranter and Stefan Schlacker as Stefan moves to 9th. 2 Apex Racing TV teammates and Ward and Fitzpatrick trading positions further back. There's Stefan on the right, Mark Tranter on the left as Tranter looks in the rearview mirror and says thank you very much. He moves up to 8th.
It might actually also be on Styles. If he can close on Fitzpatrick, I think there's an opportunity for Styles to break to the front of the pack. We'll wait and see, and these points are unofficial. We'll get confirmation later on. Dan Yeaman saying car was broke. It's as simple, unfortunately, as that one. What a heartbreaking way to end what was a spectacular last-minute, short-notice appearance. Melillo does also point out, Justin Melillo in our YouTube chat, that next time we run this, I can guarantee you every broadcaster will be looking to make sure they have safety in numbers if we repeat this type of format.
Safety in numbers is going to be the massive thing. And obviously it's been working for SimSpeed, it's been working for Apex Racing TV. It hasn't worked the best for RaceSpot, unfortunately, but we also lost a lot of our drivers that we would have had tonight.
Yes, and they're all going to get a stern talking to after this one, don't you worry. Battle for third. This is where we focus on now because they are working through traffic. Ward Fitzpatrick versus Styles. It's going to be a fun little battle between two teammates, or former teammates, as running ride. Fortunately, that's Timothy Cox, not one of the Apex cars scoring points, but a reminder of the treachery of lap traffic and what it may deliver.
That lap traffic can be detrimental, and that's really the race right now through the middle portions of this group. As we see Sam Fitzpatrick and we see Jack Styles. They are now Styles on the rear wing, dives to the inside. He goes for the move, and he is going to get the move on, I believe, the lap machine.
Yes, it was making sure he was close enough through the next complex of corners, because Lewis Ward, I think, is in danger of clearing himself off. So Fitzpatrick versus Styles, Tranter versus Schlacker. Second in bragging rights team championship standings will come down to these two fights as we work to the closing stages of this race.
Over halfway done by a good margin now. 10 laps to go. And Styles can now see just Sam Fitzpatrick in front of him, not the Apex, or not the GSRC traffic that was in front of him.
I just want to point out, by the way, sorry, I'm cutting you off and totally shifting the direction of this broadcast. If Bo Albert wins right here, he can forever claim that I am not the cause of the curse that seems to have surrounded Bo over the last 18 months or so. I'm just saying.
That's very true.
Top and bottom, we'll look at the relevant battles in the championships. 4th and 8th. As another car has issues, you can clearly tell how technical a track this is, even in a Formula car that is slightly slower. By no means is a slow Formula car. But imagine what it would be like as Tranter has lost it by himself. Schlacker will scramble on through. These are the moments that will define the championship.
That was the tiniest mistake from Tranter and RaceSpotTV with a 1-point gap now. Still a good bit of ways back from SimSpeed, but RaceSpot, looking for second place, is now past Apex Racing TV with that mistake. Where's the next opportunity? Apex has to make a pass. Lewis Ward is 2 seconds back from Cam Dance. Patrick is only close to an Apex driver.
There is one driver, though, that will look to try and help the cause here. If Tyler Maxson can continue this forward momentum and get past Tranter, he will make it a 2-point gap, at which point there should be communication. Jack Styles does not need to go on the offense to get past Fitzpatrick. Tense moments in this race. Emerson Arden has an issue as he tries to, I think, get out of pit road. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure.
I think he's trying to get in the pit road. Maybe. We'll find out. But you mentioned the communication with the RaceSpot guys. They're all sitting in the admin room in the TeamSpeak. Jack Styles, Lorenzo Bonder, Stefan Schlachter, and Tyler Maxson. And I think they're exactly talking over exactly what we just said.
There's a look at the points for the drivers. Let's give you a better look at the top 10, because I think it's nicer to show how close it is. Schlacker and Ward tied on 96 points. My word.
Evan top 10. Solid.
Yeah, but it's Evan. We'll give him a penalty just because he's Evan.
Exactly.
Voice of NASCAR, you know, travels the world.
He gets a 10-second time penalty.
No, we'll give him a time penalty just because. Oh, incredible. So let's talk future. Let's say we do this next year in the summer. What are we doing in terms of format? I think we keep the point structure. I like having both the team and the driver's points. I think we can do some wacky stuff with the combo, though.
I want more dirt, obviously. I want a dirt oval on the... I think we should do 4 races, all 4 licensed classes.
Ooh, okay. I'm for it. I'm here for it.
Maybe we can get some rallycross in there. We'd have to do heats, obviously.
Yeah, see, that's why I didn't do rallycross, because I wanted dirt, but I didn't want the heat. I wanted it to be compressed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
There's a look at Tranter versus Maxson, who's now having to reclose on the back of him. Can put it within a shadow of a doubt, and contact between the two of them. Maxson fired it up the inside. Don't think Tranter saw him there. And Tranter's the one that ended up in the air.
That was a big hit for Mark Trancher, sent him into the air and off to the side. That was a close one. I don't know if Tyler came up or Mark came down, but either way, that sent Mark Trancher back to P10.
Here's a look at a replay. It will give us a much better look. Tyler does take liberties with track limits. I've been saying that a lot today because drivers have been very much taking advantage. A look from up above, though, is always the best angle to do so from. I think
Tyler.
To quote what attitudes around real racing sometimes can be, if I crash you out, I'm going to get ready for you to crash me out as well. Therefore, if Mark Trancher takes out Tyler Maxson, Tyler can have no complaints about it.
Yeah, I think at this point, the payback might be on the way. But you have to remember, we are in open wheel cars. Payback's
we are.
A tough thing to do.
And with the new damage model as well, that's got a significant overhaul for this past build, just tweaking some of the ways that calculations and computations work behind the scenes. I must say the new damage model has been a revelation on some of these open wheel cars. We saw it during the ISOWC last summer, just how it changes the dynamic of racing when body parts crumple in a slightly different way. Battle for third is starting to close back up again. Fitzpatrick had been dropped by Ward, but it's closed back up as the traffic's played its part.
Top two is Albert and Dance for SimSpeed. Then you have the duo of Apex drivers. Then the first race spot driver of Jack Styles. FTF and SimSpeed 6th and 7th. And then dual race spots down to another Apex Racing TV to round out the top 10. Evan has an opportunity to put iRacing into the top 10 for I think one of the only times tonight. But he's got about 7 seconds to try and make up that time.
Unlikely, I would guess, at this time, but never count him out. I think that's for sure. Traffic, by the way, has held up Jack Styles, who's now 2 seconds back from Ward and Fitzpatrick, who has closed on up. Traffic gives and traffic takes, to quote the great John Hindorf. It's really interesting watching him from over his shoulder last weekend at Indy and seeing how a real-world broadcast works. It's so different to what it's like in the sim world, because let's be real, Josh, we are spoiled as sim racing commentators. We get infinite camera angles, we get live timing that can show us all the information we want. In the real world, you get a production feed, you get a basic timing, you get a producer in your ear, and that's it. You're off and you're talking.
Yeah, in the sim racing world as well. I mean, I've known a good bit of commentators that would get on the track in the sim, run the car on that track, and then commentate about it. So the sim racing commentators have a little bit more liberty than the real life commentators of, hey, I can get in the sim, race the exact car on the exact track that the drivers that I am commentating on will be racing, so I know exactly what I am talking about. Real life drivers, other than, I mean, the Jeff Gordon, the Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s, the Jeff Burtons of the world, don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, we had a great sit down inside the esports arena during that Porsche Sports Car Together Fest with John Hindorf, Riley Dickinson, who then went on to win the Carrera Cup Porsche race just a couple of hours after that. The winner of the Porsche Esports Challenge, Randall Hayward, as well as myself and Sadicus Matt Trevette. Really fun little chat that we had, and interesting to hear from Riley in particular how it works. Fitzpatrick and Ward switch around because Ward has had a moment of his own. Not going to change around anything too much. Stefan Schlacker getting in front of Ryan Jones. That, though, will help put it beyond a shadow of a doubt, as Austin Knight, we saw him loop it around. 3 points now between RaceSpotTV and the Apex Racing TV team.
That point gap continues to grow as, oh no, FTF is catching up to Racecraft. So where's the FTF guys running right now? Tebin in 6th, I need him. Okay, 12 seconds to the next car, okay. Looking safe there, where's Zach? Zach has 2 laps between himself and Ian Fisher. Okay, I think we're fine.
Haven't taken a look at some of these drivers' webcams, so let's try and give them the opportunity, as Ian Fisher has some internet issues. Like you said, racing literally...
Oh, look at the shade!
I know, inside the garage. Maybe we can excuse some of the issues he's had today.
And it is his aunt's house. Is that Taylor Burris or is that Evan Pasoko? That's Taylor Burris.
And I think that's a broken car. Yeah.
Oh, and he's facing the wrong way.
Oh, okay, no, he's lost the rear wing, still has drive, but is, and I think has realized discretion, the better part of valor. Cam Dance has lost time as well. We've got a fight now for 2nd through 5th as Lorenzo Bonder loops it by himself.
Another looping around by Lorenzo. Oh, goodness. I've commentated these cars with him.
You have in the Real Racers Virtual Club.
Better. He just wrecked again. Lorenzo.
So as we watch this battle for 2nd with coming to 3 to go, here's a look at what happened to RaceSpot's resident Brazilian first. Simple issue, too much speed, not enough grip. And then what happens afterwards, because he's not getting away with 2 spins in the course of, what, 3 corners, something like that? Yes, 3 corners.
Okay, Lorenzo. I mean, at that point, I think he's trying to wreck.
Yes. Oh, no. At that point, he is. So here's that fight for 2nd. Dance reeled on in by the likes of Fitzpatrick. Lewis Ward as well as Jack Styles.
Very, very close for 2nd, which originally through the middle portion of this race, it was not close up here at the front for 2nd, but now it's all Cam Dance, Sam Fitzpatrick, Lewis Ward, Jack Styles. As we look at Styles, Fitzpatrick, and Cam Dance, 3 different drivers from RaceSpot, Apex, and SimSpeed as they race their way through the middle sector. Only 2 to go this time with Bo Albert crossing the start-finish right now.
I heard Ryan Jones go around. Now, he's still in 8th. I think should be good enough to still secure him inside of the top 4 in the Drivers' Championship. You can see Cam trying to break the toe. It's not the longest run into turn number 1. Healthy dose of curb through all of the cars as they fly through the opening corner. On board with Styles as we run at the tail end of the pack. You'll have the most drafts, but by the same token, the most dirty air as well. Not too much dirty air in these cars relative to what maybe a Formula 1 machine will put out as Lorenzo Bonder off track again, and Jack Styles will loop it around as well. If he can keep it going, RaceSpot should still secure 2nd, but I tell you what, with Lorenzo Bonder crashing, he's very fortunate that there are 3 RaceSpot drivers still up the road and in front of him.
Lorenzo just straight put it into the wall.
I wonder if that's a technical issue. He has been having some of that.
1 to go this time by the start finish for Bo Albert. And he lost it on a straightaway.
Yep. Lorenzo. Here though is your soon-to-be champion as Bo Albert comes to take the white flag. 1 final lap at Rudskogen to survive. And I tell you what, as much as I love Bo, and I've commentated with him a couple of times as well, great person to chat with, I still feel heartbroken for poor Dan Yeaman.
I do too. He had an amazing run going, and I mean, what a run for SimSpeed as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot get much better than that. And I think the only driver we're missing out of the SimSpeed brigade is Jay Kennedy further down in the order, else we would have had all SimSpeed up at the front. As there's the team points. RaceSpot only 2 points good on Apex. Can anything happen in the last lap?
And I tell you what, talk of Jake Kennedy. Around he goes. It's been.
He needs to go put another cup of coffee on the.
No. He's been downing the monster energies, I've been told. Reliably.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, he's going to be up for a while thinking about hopefully the fun that he's had rather than the tumultuous day, because hopefully we don't wait 6 years to do this again. 6 years after Jake Burton took what was then V8's Online to the bragging rights victory lane, it will be Bo Albert that will charge to the top along with SimSpeed, winners of iRacing bragging rights to electric Comentaroo. A drag race to the line behind with Cam Dance fending off Fitzpatrick, as well as Lewis Ward and Jack Styles. A tumultuous day of excitement, entertainment, flips, overtakes, and everything in between. SimSpeed, the lineal champions, came in with the weight of expectation and the pressure of tiredness, but they rose above all of that to rise as the bragging rights champions, Josh.
What a run by SimSpeed, and now they are undefeated in the Bragging Rights Invitational. From V8's Online to SimSpeed, they keep the exact same speed on the racetrack.
And officially, if there ever was a curse, Bo Albert has had it lifted. He has won a race and a championship that I have commentated on. There can be no complaints from here on forward.
This is the exact same stakes as the World Championship. I argue this is higher stakes than the World Championship.
Who cares about the $25,000? This
absolutely not.
This is about the next year. I mean, if Bo doesn't put this in his Twitter bio, I will be disappointed.
This has to go in the SimSpeed Twitter bio as well.
Yes, no, for sure.
Two-time Bragging Rights Invitational winners.
And we will chat with as many drivers as want to come and talk to us, so stick around. We'll have post-race cuts. We'll talk about the plans for the winter for the companies and for the drivers as well. Such a fun event, such a fun day. Delighted to have 28 drivers show up as well. There was a time when 20 drivers would have been thought of as a success, but incredible stuff. SimSpeed, your deserved winners of Bragging Rights to Electric Comentaroo. Here's a look, though, at the race results for the final time today. It's a 1-2 for SimSpeed. Albert in front of Dance, who was able to fend off Fitzpatrick, Ward, Stiles, Tebben, Schlacker, Jones, Maxon, and Tranter, all bookending the top 10 in points. Behind them, Evan Pasoko, Giancarlo Lenzi, and Joe Peak finishing on the lead lap. Joe Peak started in pit lane. Turns out that was the right call to make. Danny Yeaman will be heartbroken to finish 14th after shining in the first 3 races of the day. Austin Knight, Sebastian Boscher-Williams, DJ Clark, Bonder, Cox, Kennedy, the top 20. Our final page of results sees the likes of Taylor Burris, Ian Fisher, Emerson Arden, and the rest of the retirees, including Dane Baird, who did not take to the green flag. And so with the stakes on the line, a champion was crowned, and we can get unofficial confirmation as they run live points. It is SimSpeed in front of RaceSpot, in front of Apex Racing TV, GSRC in front of the iRacing.com team. Maybe next time we will convince the likes of Drew Adamson, Cisco Scaramusa, Sean Ambrose, and many more to show up iRacing staff members. Racecraft, Josh Lee, I'm going to blame you for not having more drivers from them, as well as FTF.GG. It's all your fault. We were scheduled to have 4 from Pit Stop. Unfortunately, just 2 showed up today. And when we look at the drivers' points, what shines out and stands out is that it's all SimSpeed, yes, but 8 points splits first from 4th.
That is very, very close. And Yeaman was even 8 points behind after wrecking out and not finishing that race even too.
Well, Bo Albert was having a little bit of chat with his competitors, but we dragged him straight into the comms booth. Bo, the curse, if there ever was one, was lifted because you have won a race that I've commentated on now. Bragging rights winner, though. Now for the next year, you can truly walk yourself around as the fastest commentator on iRacing.
Oh, and I'm going to, believe me, it's going in all the bios and everything. Like, this is a big deal. So, you know, the iRacing Rallycross World Championship didn't go my way, but this has, so I'll absolutely take it. And yes, thank God for the curse being broken.
What's up for the rest of the year then for you, Bo? Not just in terms of commentary, but of course racing as well as we head into a winter season when I know Altus is going to be exceptionally busy.
Yeah, absolutely. The team at Altus will be busy. I'm not sure in what capacity I'll be joining them. Obviously, just recently I departed the Altus house, and I'm taking a bit of a step back from sim racing at the moment, getting back more into the commentary. So for a racing side of things, not too sure what the plan is, but nonetheless, it's going to be an exciting few months, and bring it on, I say.
Indeed, and I'll ask you about your experience then with that Altus team house, because I have a lot of friends, especially within the Rallycross community, who were unsure what that environment was going to be like. How did you enjoy it, and you know, how do you reflect on your time there?
Oh, it was a fantastic experience, and obviously a massive thank you to Simon Feigl for putting it all together and making that happen. Ultimately, for the Rallycross side of things, it didn't really help too much because it wasn't any other Rallycross drivers in the house. It was just me by myself. So nothing really changed. It wasn't any different to racing at, you know, my traditional home or anything else. So on the Rallycross side of things, we probably didn't quite get the benefit, but I do hope in the future there is a benefit for the Altus house moving forward. But for me, just didn't really work out, so I've decided to move in with my girlfriend and, you know, sort of go that route in life.
Well, we all grow up at some point, I'm sure, Bo, but we know you will still be a fast kid at heart. Congratulations on this next step, and congratulations on the crown of fastest commentator on iRacing.
Absolutely, thank you guys. And before I go, let's go SimSpeed.
SimSpeed, your back-to-back champion, something that I'm sure we will hear no end of. And let's go straight over to the man behind the scenes that does all the hard work, but you never see his face. Let's talk to Jay Kennedy.
That's for a good reason.
Well, I was going to ask you about how your day went. It was a little bit of a tumultuous one for you, but it must be good to show up with the team, have a lot of fun, get back behind the wheel for the first time in a while, and end up on top.
Yeah, 4 years since I've actually done a race on iRacing, and 4 years since I've done laps. It's been a long time, and worth the wait. Showed why I don't race, but I had a ball, and congratulations to the other boys within the team who have all stayed up all night to do it. It's currently just after 4 a.m. and we've all stayed up all night to do it, and it's been a load of fun. Cam in New Zealand, it's 6 a.m. there, and he's still got up and raced and done really well as well. So yeah, it's been really cool, and thanks again to you guys and for putting it on once again. Glad it's back, but not too often because we want to hold on to the championship for a while.
Maybe next summer, we'll see. I'll ask you about what the future holds for you for the rest of the year, of course. Plenty of Scops races, you work behind the scenes with the iRacing crew as well, but what exciting things is SimSpeed going to be up to over the course of the year? I know you're just coming off your collaboration with Motorsports Australia.
Yeah, we've just collaborated with Motorsports Australia for a special event for the Asia Pacific region, which is going to be hosted by the Federation of Motorsport of India. So we're sending 4 finalists from Australia over for that. So we've just wrapped that up. The V8 Scops Bathurst 1000 is next weekend, the biggest event in Australia and New Zealand sim racing. So that's going to be huge. Got 100 drivers racing in that, including drivers that race in the real world supercars that'll be competing. So it's the most prestigious event in Australia and New Zealand. That's next weekend, so it'll be huge.
We're looking forward to it. Congratulations, Jay. So glad to have you and SimSpeed as a part of this. And I'm sure you'll wear this championship with lots of pride. Let's head to one final SimSpeed driver for a moment, because it's the man that led coming into the final race of the day before an incident in front of him left him with nowhere to go. We're chatting with Dan Yeaman. And Dan, talk to us about the first 2 races before we talk about the final one.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, quite a surprise. I heard you bring it up during the broadcast that, yeah, I was a super sub fill-in at 3 hours ago now. I just jumped on tonight, did some laps. Actually, here at Rudskogen was the one I did the most practice for. So apparently that was a bad decision tonight to do that. But yeah, look, it was just basically come here with the boys, do the best to defend the SimSpeed honour, and apparently we pulled off some pretty good results. Sheer miracle we survived Charlotte as well. Just happened to hit the brakes enough, I think, that we actually took no damage despite what happened immediately in front of us there. And Ryan was kind enough to just shadow me back to the line there. And in the Pro 2 truck, I bought Crandon 2.5 hours ago. Once Jay said you're in for this, and give it a whirl, and thankfully didn't die on the land rush start despite being dead center of the front row.
Hey, the master plan of Josh and myself to get everyone to buy Crandon is clearly working out. If we do this again next year and you coming back, I've got to ask, we like our wacky combos, and I know you are a diverse racer as well. What's the most wacky combo that you think will be fun for us to put forward next year?
Ooh, you're putting me on the spot for this.
am.
Ooh, that's going to be hard.
Commentators,
yeah, it's 4 a.m. The brain is not working very well. Let's just be clear.
You're a commentator. I expect it to just flow.
Oh, great. Geez, I've been doing this for less than 12 months, and you think I've got all the flow down? Wowee. Look, I mean, there's some fun. Some of the older stuff I've really enjoyed doing on iRacing. I've played around with things in leagues here in Australia, New Zealand, Motor 79, Audi 90 GTO. Honestly, a car like that, which is they are hard to drive, but I reckon you could find a pretty whack track for those. Something a bit tight and twisty and bumpy. That could possibly work there.
So
I think, yeah.
Lotus 79 at Phillip Island is what I'm hearing right now.
I mean, that's a lot of high-speed flow, and that's like my personal Achilles heel, but I wouldn't necessarily say no to it.
Congratulations. It was great fun to have you on short notice, Dan, and hopefully next year we can do it again and have even more fun. Congratulations on the run.
Thank you, Arjuna. Thank you, Josh.
Dan Yeaman, super sub indeed here today. Let's switch over then to another team. Let's step to the second, I think, step on the podium, and let's start with someone who is going to hear about how disappointed Josh Lee and myself are with Lorenzo Bonder spinning not once but twice in the space of 4 corners. Lorenzo,
did you guys catch that? Please say no.
we got both of it live on broadcast.
Damn it. That's all I'm gonna say.
So
It's kind of like I ran out of skill.
So let's be clear here, Lorenzo. This is, in some ways, your passion project. In January, you and we had a couple of messages go back and forth, and it ended with me taking up the reins because you were the competitor. We wanted to be fair to everyone. How excited are you that we've finally done this, and everyone's excited to do it again, hopefully not too far down the road?
Man, it's been my love project. I've watched the bragging rights 6 years ago, and I was like, okay, let me try to get a shot at this and try to organize. So, and eventually I became a competitor, like you said. But regardless, it was real fun. Of course, skill-wise, like I said, never existed. My career in iRacing never existed. So I just let the boys try to do the carrying for me, even though I had a good race in the race number 1, but. Me and Josh were just discussing that the incident that we had, but it's unfortunate what can happen. I'm just seeing for the fun. Congrats to SimSpeed, tryhards, and Apex. Try to get a good run. We thought we were actually going to get P3, but at the end of the day, really good fun, and let's hope real soon, maybe next year. I don't know. Whenever we have some time to try to organize bragging rights 3 of a dozen or something like that.
It will be fun. Let's switch on over though to the man that had to carry the torch after Hugo Luis lost his power cable right before this race. So clearly there was some sabotage, but our real world whiz Tyler Maxson got behind the wheel. Tyler, come on, that was fun, right?
Oh yeah, that was a blast.
You dressed up for us as well.
Yeah, you know, I mean, my luck's about as good as it is in real life, in the sim too. So at least we're consistent, you know.
Talk about real life as well. We'll second in the championship. We'll talk with that more about, I think, maybe with Jack Styles. I want to ask about your future for the rest of the year. I mean, you got Petit Le Mans coming up, IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge weekend. It's been a strong year where you haven't always been showcased with the result that you deserve. I'm sure you want to finish with a bang at your home track.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's kind of one that we've had circled on the calendar for the year, and we're really pushing for that one. But it's not been the best year, unfortunately. I think we've had a lot of speed. It's just the luck's not been on our side. But yeah, overall, it's been a fun year, and we're really looking forward to this last race. We're really pushing hard for that one, and hopefully we can come out with a good result there.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were trying so hard today that we saw telemetry on that little monitor in the corner of your webcam.
Yes, yeah, we got the new telemetry screen installed 2 days ago. The telemetry, as you can tell, did a lot. We really found the extra speed in this fixed setup. A telemetry screen where there actually wasn't even a base lap time set in it, so that just tells you the biggest strat that we have on that telemetry screen. It was really helpful in showing us what we were doing and comparing it to nothing.
Well, it was close between RaceSpotTV and the Apex Racing team, so we'll switch over from Tyler Maxson to chatting with Austin Knight, who, after being part of our Race Up the Mountain yesterday, a Week 13 special event, joins us again for a very diverse set of challenges. Austin, how much fun did you and the Apex Racing team have? 3 points between you and RaceSpot for second spot overall.
There was never a moment in this race where I was not smiling. That was a lot of fun. Even when iRacing crashed, I fly into the pit lane, I crash, spinning around, just having a great old time. Like, it was fun, very challenging, and, you know, a lot of fun. There were some times, like, when we noticed how close we were to RaceSpot, we slightly had tactics, and then we threw that out the window, like, 5 laps in, just having a good time.
In terms of the team, let's be real, a lot of the World Championship drivers have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. It's probably fair that you did not show up with the driver lineup that you could have.
Yes, which is, I'm gonna say is the best thing that we could have done, because if we showed up with everybody who works behind the scenes, that everybody would just looked at us and just be like, really, guys?
Yes.
So they got me instead.
But we enjoyed having you. We had Fitzpatrick, Ward as well. You were running well. In terms of next year, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked to Danny Amon. Unique format, unique race. What would you like to see us add?
Soapbox Derby.
Oh, okay. So you're harking back to what we did yesterday, kind of.
Yes, 1 minute, 30-second intervals, just drop them down. Just having good fun.
Love it. Well, we'll head from Austin Knight, delighted to have his company these last few days on RaceSpotTV, over to a duo that's worked with us at RaceSpot plenty, but today represented the FTF.GG brand, and Joshua Lee, who has worked alongside these two, standing by with Joey Tebben and Zach Johnson.
Well, the FTF duo is up here in the booth. And I'll start with Joey, because you had a really good run going there, top 5 in the points, and with the 3 combos here, ultimately, they all seem to fit your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm just the best driver ever, so yeah, it just kind of evened out like that. But in all honesty, like, that it was all about consistency. It was all about surviving. I'm sure the 14 other people you've interviewed so far have said the same thing. I made it through the pileups of the street stock race. The holes opened for me. I didn't lift. I didn't care. I made it through. I flipped on lap 1 in the trucks, and my suspension was destroyed. It was like I was driving an actual pickup truck, but I still finished. And then whatever, Rudskogen, that's all. That was just like a blur. I drove the car around for a couple laps, and it survived. And yeah, it all evened out.
Well, Zach, 3 consistent top 28 finishes. That can't be that bad for you and the team.
I would like to have formally apologized to every single other driver in the second and third race for being an absolute menace.
I mean, ultimately, you stayed out of a lot of people's ways. It seems like you only got into single car incidents, but you got into a lot of them.
It's easy not to get in people's way when you're upside down in the ditch, because that kind of like forces you out of people's way.
Exactly. So, question to both of you, starting with Joey, then we'll go to Zach. When we come back for Bragging Rights 3, whenever that may be, what do you think should be an added car track combo?
Well, I'm just going to think of all things that I'm good at. So, F3 at Montreal, IndyCar at Pocono, trucks at Daytona. Just stuff that you don't have to put a lot of thought into. I just want to go full throttle and, just drive around. iRacing Super Speedway, stuff like that,
All right, Zach, give me the weird combo
practice. Who wants to do that?
Why did we not go to the Urbandale figure 8 with the jump?
Because
maybe next time.
Because we can only show so many replays live.
That's true. Arjuna, you missed. I think you missed me. You missed my perspective going through those pileups.
Let's be real. I probably missed a whole bunch of things that happened today, because everywhere we were looking, there was something.
Yeah, you missed.
And they were usually Zach.
Yeah. We coined the phrase "What has Zach done now?" because of how often we were looking at what Zach had done. I'm sorry, Zach.
I'm both offended and not surprised.
Yes. We need the blame Zach hanger made, and we also need it to have the soundbite of what is Zach doing now. I think I agree with that as well. I tell you what, though, we're going to leave these duo to go and
FTF domination
to cause more chaos elsewhere. We'll switch on over to the GSRC driver of Joe Peak. Delighted to have him finish up in 13th at the end of the race, because it's fair to say those first 2 races, Joe, were eventful.
Yeah, very eventful. I couldn't avoid the big one right at the start of the oval race, and then I got a beef with Taylor Burris now, apparently, because he decided that keeping the throttle in it when we start the truck race is the way to go. So,
I love it. In terms, though, of what you're doing this year, Joe, I know you've been doing a lot outside of GSRC as well, but taking a lot more of a production-based role for the company as well. What more do you have in store for the rest of this year in 2022?
I think we're going to be getting to cover MTech again, which I'm excited about, because that's a really awesome series for the majors. I really enjoy getting to work with them and Mike Willett. Other than that, honestly, the end of this year has been fantastic for me, because finally got to dip my toes into real-world commentary. Got to work for SRO at Road America, and I'm going to be back for them at Indianapolis.
That's awesome. In terms of other commentators as well, I always look at GSRC and some of the commentators. You guys have got a great track record of finding new gems and developing them really well. How does that work for you behind the scenes as someone that's been in this niche industry of sim racing commentary for so long?
To be honest, it's a really simple answer. I'm just like, anybody gets a shot, and if you hit the ground running, we'll make it work. But it's because I started this with zero experience myself.
I'm gonna put in effort now.
Oh, there we got Ian in here for a second. Because I started this with zero experience, I just decided that anybody can probably get a feel for it if they have the right chops. So we'll bring you in. I'll start to try and train you, get a feel for like if you're from ground zero or what. And like you said, we found some real gems out of that some people have never done it before and discovered, kind of like I did, that they really love it.
As someone who got my shot as a complete newbie, I love that attitude, Joe. So glad that GSRC is like that, and I can't wait to see who else comes from the ranks. Best of luck for you for the rest of the year as well. We'll switch on over, though, to the Racecraft duo, a duo that Josh Lee has worked plenty with. He's standing by with Ian Fisher and Josh Edmondson.
All right, my boys are up here in the booth. Guys, we beat FTF. Clap it up for that.
We did it! Mission accomplished. George Bush, mission accomplished banner. Let's do it. Yes. What?
We beat FTF. We also beat Pit Stop. But Ian, starting with you, seemed like you were having a bit of trouble in those races, but I think it's looking at the camera. Honestly, I understand it.
Oh my goodness. So I just want to give a shout out really quick to my Aunt Laura. It's my cousin Elizabeth. It's her baby son's Jack's first birthday. So that's why I'm here. So I want to give out a shout out to Jack. Happy birthday to Jack. But yes, I'm in my aunt's garage right now, and I don't know if you saw the picture already, Josh, but I'm literally on a card table right now with my laptop. So it was a struggle, to say the least. I think we did a really good job in the Charlotte race. I think we did all we could there. But I will say I have to lift my knees almost to my chest to shift gears and everything like that. So it was a struggle, to say the absolute least.
Well, Josh, Pro 2 light win. I think that's what we all expected, but solid run in the street stock before the wreck and a solid run in the IRO 4s before you also wrecked there. So, I mean, all three vehicles, you had a good bit of running going. If Josh Edmondson is even here.
There we go. Yeah, sorry, I lost connection there for a second. Yeah, I didn't really hear the first part of what you said. Yeah, the oval race was going good. Got caught up in that wreck. That sucked. Feel like we could have been up front there. Obviously won the one we were supposed to in the trucks. That was actually new to me, though. I'd never raced the Pro 2 Light on that track. I've done thousands of laps in the Pro 2, but having half the power was a little different. And then, yeah, the IR04, I just was terrible. I spun myself like 3 different times right in front of the pack one time. It's pretty bad.
Well, qualified 9th, so not that too terribly bad. But Ian, Josh, both to you. When we come back for Bragging Rights 3, what do you want to see us go racing in?
Oh man, well, of course I'm gonna vote for trucks again.
Naturally.
Always like to, yeah, gotta vote for those. But I actually had fun trying to learn this open wheel car. Might try one of those or something like that again. I've been trying to get better at that stuff, so I'd definitely like to race more of that.
Well, we were talking to the guys down in the interview chat there, Josh. We were talking about Mission R and super speedways and a couple of other things like that. Of course, you know, with me and my Yes to Motorsports affiliation, we're the king of stupid car and track combinations. But while I'm here, I don't get many chances to get an interview. So I do want to give a shout out to Fisher Disc Golf, Bolt Jet. They helped me out a lot. And then also to Josh and Trevor Teal and you, Joshua Lee, Arjuna. Thank you for putting this on. This was awesome. I had so much fun. And then just everybody at Racecraft, Zach Knowles, that gave me the shot to even be here. And I really appreciate it. I'm not trying to take too much time, but just want to give a shout out to those guys. I really appreciate what they do for me.
Great to hear from both my Racecraft boys, Jarjuna. We beat FTF, we beat Pit Stop, which is who we're going to next.
Yes, we are talking to the Blue Whites of RaceSpotTV. Slated to come into this one with 4 drivers, but late in the day they were whittled down to 2. And Emerson, it was pretty entertaining day because I'm sure in that mid-pack where the action was so fast and frenetic, it must have felt like a Royal Rumble of sorts.
Oh, absolutely. It was chaotic for sure. It was something else. I was very confident in the street stock race that it was going to turn into that. I didn't expect it to happen on the second lap of the race, but it did. I want to apologize also. I'm kind of losing my voice. I've been a little sick this week. But yeah, and of course the land rush at Crandon is always going to be chaotic. I ended up upside down on lap 1 there. I really didn't have any luck. And then here with the IR04, I just sucked. I never drove this car before this week, and yeah, it was always chaotic in the midfield. There's so many cars. The turnout for this event was amazing, and it was a great time.
So I assume that next year we do this again. You guys are coming out in stronger numbers. I like that we had, some of the smaller broadcasters as well, because there's, especially now, right, these last couple of years, it's not just, the biggest broadcasters. There are so many new broadcasters and communities that have sprung up. It's nice to be able to celebrate you guys as well. Talk to us a little bit about PitStopTV.
Well, PitStopTV was started by Andrew Cardinale IV. He was supposed to run with us today, and then I guess he had an impromptu trip, so that's why he wasn't able to run with us today. But yeah, Andrew Cardinale IV, he's the one who started PitStopTV, and it was going for a while, but when the pandemic hit, that's when I made my transition to iRacing. I knew him from a couple Facebook groups before, and he reached out to me and said, you know what, I could use some commentators, you should come on, you just got on iRacing. I'm like, sure. And from then on, PitStop just kind of, we continued to add series and explore different types of racing, and PitStop has kind of been growing because of, the pandemic. There's so many races that, there are so many series that couldn't race in real life, and I think there was the Cars Esports Tour that PitStopTV picked up and stuff like that. So it's been something else, because it's kind of grown so much over the past couple of years. I know we just hit over a couple thousand subscribers on YouTube, but it's been something. Andrew's put in so much work, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride. He makes all of our graphics, all of our resources and everything, and of course he commentates, produces, he does everything. Of course he does it all, but he just gives me the resources to succeed, and it's been amazing.
It's great to hear. Looking forward to having you back next year, and hopefully it's with more numbers for PitStopTV as they look to fight in Bragging Rights 3. We'll switch over, though, to the iRacing.com duo of Evan Pasoko as well as Taylor Burris. We'll first talk to Taylor, and Josh, I'll let you ask the questions here because I know you've been waiting for this opportunity to roast some people.
Okay, thank you. Taylor, why were you so slow?
Hey, I peaked and the street stock, and then it just went downhill from there, literally.
All right, Evan, same question to you. Why were you so slow?
I mean, we got a top 10 and carried the flag for Team iRacing, biggest mover in the road race. So I think we outshined expectations. Despite Taylor's best effort, he tried to take the side of my truck off in the Pro 2 light race for 8 corners in a row. But listen, we got the car upside down in 2 different races and finished the top 10, so I'd consider that a dub.
It wasn't terrible. 11th place in the road race. I mean, we've woken up, Evan, at ungodly hours to watch F1 this year, so at least some of it's rubbing off on you.
Yeah, and unlike a Ferrari, my car made it to the end of the race, so that was a plus.
You didn't have the Ferrari pit wall either to worry about your strategy.
Pit stops were necessary.
You were good here. But to both of you, starting with Taylor, when we come back, Bragging Rights 3, what weird combo do you want to see hit the track?
Oh, that's a good question. I say let's go a little bit more to the dirt side, but let's take the street stocks, the dirt street stocks, over to Volusia, down over here in my neck of the woods. That would be some fun, just down and dirty racing. That'll be a great blast for anyone to have.
Evan, what weird combo are you going to suggest?
I want the oval race to be a little bit more challenging, right? The road bias makes it hard for us circle people because the oval track we picked was just, full throttle, turn it left. I actually had to learn corners and stuff for the road course. So, keeping with the spirit of it, I'd like to see something with the 87s, or even sprint cars, something that's on an oval that requires a little bit more finesse. I was checking my profile. I have not raced on iRacing since June of 2020. So, all things considered, I think I did all right, but I want to see more unique oval things, right? Let's get the old school stock cars or something besides the user-friendly street stocks.
So something with a little bit more challenging. I like that idea.
Yeah, just some oomph to it. Let's make these, if these road guys are going to make us sweat and, learn 12 turns, then they should have to learn, how to lift on an oval too. We got to, use the brake or something.
At least our master plan of having everybody buy Crandon did work, though. So we got Crandon in there.
Crandon's our junior was slandering Crandon on the broadcast. I was listening in between races.
Hey, I never slandered. I just said that Bark River
That's a cold take, man.
I think you need to go rewatch the Off-Road Championship Series
Hashtag
races.
blame Arjuna tonight.
Hashtag yes,
I'm
you can blame me. But I would recommend, just because you give more numbers to the series Josh and I commentate on, because unfortunately we need a little bit more help in the World Championship numbers. We can't all be the voice of eNASCAR, unfortunately.
Well, having done a lot of the Jim Beaver events, I enjoyed having to be put in the driver's seat now, so I know how difficult it can be. Listen, those things are so much. I mean, hey, I've driven them before. They're so much fun.
And I think I gave you the hardest car to drive as well, because 400 horsepower, just rear-wheel drive. I think it actually was more challenging than Pro Force. We're going to move on. Delighted to talk to Evan and Taylor, representing iRacing.com, but of course we've worked with them at RaceSpotTV before as well. Someone else that's worked with us but decided to represent someone else and is going to have to answer that question next time we're on commentary together is the one and only DJ Clark. And DJ, it looked like you were having a lot of fun at your same setup where you're usually commentating on races.
Yeah, I'm not fancy enough to be able to have the full sim setup, but no, it was a blast out there. Not the best results, but still a good time.
Hey, you've got a podium on RaceSpotTV before. Let's make sure we give you some kudos. But of course, it's been a great year for you this year, DJ. I mean, traveling around with SRO as their PA announcer. What more do you have in store for 2022 as you look forward to closing off a memorable year?
A couple more races here for SRO coming up. Sebring and the 8 Hours of Indianapolis that I'm going to be there for, and so very, very excited for those. Going to be able to knock out a few more races on RaceSpot and across the spectrum. Probably going to be the end of my the racing in 2022, but some good stuff to finish out the year and some very exciting stuff looking on the horizon for 23.
Awesome. Well, we'll chat soon as we get ready to go for yet some more Lionheart Retro Series races Thursday nights on RaceSpotTV. Two final drivers who have been waiting quite patiently, so we'll turn our attention back to our RaceSpot counterparts, Stefan Schlacker and Jack Stiles. Guys, congratulations. You were at least able to get the best of the rest. Second was an interesting day. We'll start with you, Stefan. How much fun and what was the combo that you enjoyed the most this evening?
I mean, it was all quite fun, to be honest, especially with having Lorenzo in the chat as well. You never can go wrong with Lorenzo Bonder in your team chat. But yeah, the thing I've enjoyed the most, quite honestly, it was the jumpy trucks, the Pro 2 lights at Crandon. That was proper fun. Really didn't expect to have such a good outing, to be honest, because I think in the end I scored a 6th place in the individual standings. That's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, you were one of the more consistent drivers from RaceSpot, which was good, because with Lorenzo, we definitely needed someone there who was going to get some points onto the board. I'm glad that you loved Crandon, because, again, it was part of our master plan. I'll ask you the same question, though, that we've asked some of the other guys. You know, we look forward to Bragging Rights 3, hopefully, next year. We had some interesting combos this round. Evan was saying that he wants a more difficult oval because he thought the final combo road course race was difficult. Where would you love us to go next time?
Boy, that's putting me quite on the spot, isn't it? Jeez, having to come up with something. I mean, I am tied to the Nordschleife, so it has to be something there.
Approved.
I mean, let's be honest, the best racing comes with the slowest cars. The Formula V at the Nordschleife is probably the best thing.
Ooh, that would be like a one-lap race as well. That would be quite interesting. We'll go over to Jack then, who's taken the VR off and merged back into the real world. Josh Lee had a bit of a question. You have a motion, that's not a motion rig, right?
It's not a motion rig, no.
Yes, it's just your seat's not bolted down properly.
No, I think when I built the rig last year, I broke the seat.
Oh no!
So it's got a bit of flex in it. I also don't fit the seat properly. I need to get some cushions that go either side of me to fit me in the seat a bit better. But this is the best I've had it since I built this rig. It's still not perfect.
It's better than the other way where you need to remove cushions in order to sit. I can tell you from personal experience of how I've changed over the pandemic in my rig. We haven't heard much of your voice, of course, on RaceSpotTV recently. You and I were chatting before we went live. Hopefully that will be soon as well. But we mentioned on the broadcast as well, your team has undergone a rebranding. What's up for 2022, the rest of this year, as Orbit Motorsports looks to push forward?
we're currently putting together an IVRA program. So it's a series I've had my eye on through for a couple of years now. And with the rebrand, we're putting together a program for endurance. So we're planning an entry into that. It'll be one GT3 car. I won't be racing it. My time is quite limited at the moment, but we've got a good team getting together and preparation is well underway. So yeah, I'm excited for the future of Orbit. Obviously, my Orbit counterpart, Cam Dance, was also in this. Someone who I've known for many years, and I'm very good friends with, Sam Fitzpatrick, was also in this. So it was great to race up against those three. I'm used to sharing cars with them, so being able to go head to head with them was really good fun, and I really enjoyed it. I've just got a wheel rim to put back together now because it got broken in the street stock race.
Oh, that's fantastic, and I just have to correct you. Wow. I won't say anything else about that hardware failure, but it happens. IVRA. It's not IVRA. I had to learn this the hard way as well.
IVRA. Right, I'll remember that for next time. I've spent years calling it IVRA.
Yeah, at least you didn't do the first ever IVRA broadcast as a full season thing and call it IVRA and then have the... Yes, no, exactly. So don't worry, I've told you now, you can prepare for that. Jack Stahl, Stefan Schlack will round out our post-race coverage, and my word, what a fun day it's been, what an entertaining suite of races that we really had, Josh Lee, and I can already tell you drivers are asking why can't we do this every week 13. I hate to break it to them, we're probably not doing it every 3 months, but maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. I see no reason why we can't do this a lot more frequently.
Oh no, this has been fun, and I have to say, everybody loving the jumpy trucks. Short course revolution is now. I think we need to see a lot more short course driving from these racers.
Yeah, no, and I think maybe next year, Bo Albert might actually think about trying to qualify for the Jumpy Truck World Championship. Hopefully, at the very least. Maybe, now that the curse has been broken. It's SimSpeed that sweeps the top four, and, you know, understandably, predictably, they sweep the championship, the team championship as well. Standouts, of course, I think Joey Tebben, remarkable. 99 points for him, in with a shout of victory to the very dying depths of the championship. Even Schlacker was pretty impressive as well. Lewis Ward I knew was going to be quick. Sam Fitzpatrick was the unknown for me. And let's give Evan some plaudits as well. For someone who only knows how to turn left, turns out he's quite a competent racer as well.
Top 10 for Team iRacing. That is really good. Considering we didn't have the likes of Drew Adamson or Cisco Scaramouza, which I think Cisco might have had a fighting chance in the top 10.
Yeah, no, I think, again, next year we will put more pressure on the iRacing staff members, and next year maybe we will try and find a way to open it up a little bit more. We had plenty of sign-ups from smaller organizations as well, unfortunately, for various reasons. We didn't see them all when it came to the very end of this race. There's a look as well at the team championships as we get ready to sign things off, but I think it's an event where we can celebrate what's changed over the last 2 years. Emerson said he's been doing this, who was it? Ian said he'd been doing this, Dan Yeaman, I'm getting myself all sorts of confused. Doing commentary for less than 12 months. I've been doing it for just over 2 years. I know many people in my situation as well, and so maybe next year we emerge with a 60-car grid. We're just going to have to tweak our races so that we can survive them.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to see all the commentators, all the producers, all the broadcasters come out and run this, because ultimately this is fun, right? This is everybody getting together, and it's not to work, it's to have a little bit of fun on the racetrack. I mean, only you and me, Arjuna, were the ones working here. We even had a ton of fun like the drivers were on the track.
To be fair, I think we probably had more fun than the drivers, because we got to just
Yes.
we got to slam them with some really cruel roasts. Delighted, though, to have your company for this Bragging Rights 2 Electric Comentaroo. 6 years on from the inaugural Bragging Rights, it is SimSpeed that will walk away as undefeated champions of Bragging Rights 2. It was heartbreak for Dan Yeaman, but Bo Albert was there to scoop up victory and crown himself the fastest broadcaster on iRacing. For now, though, it is time to sign off for 2022 and Bragging Rights 2. On behalf of the entire team at RaceSpotTV and everyone, for all our broadcasters, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you stay tuned across of our broadcast channels for what is bound to be an electric end to 2022. For Joshua Lee and for myself, Arjuna Kankipati, we'll see you next time for Bragging Rights 3, third time's a charm, with a date to be slated in the future. For now, so long and goodbye, as we congratulate Bo Albert, the fastest commentator on iRacing.